Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
This 2020 Sports brought to you by Kimball Recycling and Disposal. Kimball invested in advanced recycling and sustainable solutions to protect our local environment. Locally owned, locally committed. Find out more at KimballCompanies.com. Cavaliers lost at home to Boston 109-98 on Sunday. Cavs just 13 of 45 from three-point range. That included going 0 for 14 in the second quarter. Head coach Kenny Atkinson on settling for the threes way too often.
We kind of slid back where we were early in the season, where we were taking some tough ones. We love threes. We love shooting threes, but I thought we got a little overzealous. And obviously, we had a lot of missed ones.
Cavs managed only 10 points in the second quarter, 4-25 shooting. Donovan Mitchell was back from his groin injury, had 30 points. The Cavs swept in the season series by Boston. NFL legal tampering gets underway this afternoon, 12 o'clock. The Browns and the rest of the league going to be allowed to begin talks when it comes to free agents and agree to deals. However, deals can't be made official until the beginning of the new NFL business year. That is Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Guardians in Scottsdale finished with a 4-all tie against Colorado. Juan Brito, 2-run single in the contest. Joey Cantillo got the start. He allowed 2 runs on 5 hits in 4 2/3 innings. World Baseball Classic on Sunday. Last night, Canada loses to Panama 4-3 in the loss. Guardians catcher Bo Naylor, pair of base hits, scored twice. Mexico beat up on Brazil 16-0. Team Mexico takes on the United States tonight in Houston. Right now, in Tokyo, Australia takes on Korea. That game just underway. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. The best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Get the latest Cavs news up until tip-off. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. Cleveland's Sports Radio. 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Celtics will beat the Cavs for the third time this season, 3-0. Celtics now 2-0 since Jason Tatum's return. And they improved to 43-21. As the Cavs, which have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA over the last 22 games, fall short at home. A rare home loss for them. And they fall to 39-25.
A measurement of where our energy was in that first half. We weren't getting offensive rebounds, right? Like you miss like that. You normally we're much better. So tail of 2 halves, I thought our energy and force was below average in the first half. I thought the second half was better. Give them credit. I thought they made all the big plays. They made better decisions than we did, played better than us.
When you're not making shots, it feels like the world is falling. The crowd is quiet. Probably one of the worst halves of shooting we probably had all season. And, we'll be fine. We'll be better. But we can't allow that to, affect anything. And, we picked it up in the second half like we should have. And, we'll be fine.
This is Cleveland's Sports Radio. 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of ABC. Good morning.
Good morning, Kenny.
Boy, a lot of upset people in my mentions yesterday afternoon, boy.
Oh, yeah. A little irritated?
Well, I don't want to overreact to social media. Not a real place. I've said that more and more often over the last few months. I understand that because I don't know if we know exactly how to handle the Cavs and the new look Cavs because they started making a comeback in the second quarter is some of the worst basketball I think I've ever seen them play. At least since LeBron James first played. All right, like I'm sure I've seen some pretty terrible ass Cavs basketball beforehand and even between, but that second quarter was about as bad as it could possibly be, and it didn't help that you couldn't hit a shot. And every time you look at the TV, someone was hitting something from Boston. So it was a good day for Boston. You started making a run in the third quarter. And Donovan came out. I'm like, well, he's obviously on a minutes restriction. So if he's on a minutes restriction, how mad should I get about this loss? And immediately I was making excuses and pussyfooting around the bad problems that have to go with the Cavs. I'm going, well, you can take them as excuses and be as mad as you want, but these are explanations. These are reasons. You've had not a lot of practice. You have had injuries. Now, again, you go playing 5 games in 7 days to having like 4 days off yeah, it's going to throw a wrench into things. It does throw some things off. But regardless of what I said, it just sounds like a great big fat excuse to a significant amount of people, it seems, that are Cavs fans here. So I really don't know how to take them. Other than, I know how to take them. I just don't think fans know how to take them. I take them as if, all right, it was a bad day at the office yesterday. There's some things that got to get fixed. Boston's going to be a hell of a formidable opponent. There might be some people who say I should get my eraser out. Maybe I will later on. I'm not going to entertain that right now. But yeah, it was a bad day. It was a really bad, ugly
that's
day.
what they wanted to know. People were tweeting me about your pencil. I'm like, get out of my mentions about Ken's pencil.
We'll talk about my pencil
Ken
later. We have more important things.
Ken never said Sharpie.
I never said Sharpie.
Right?
I never said Sharpie. It's a pencil.
Yeah.
But if you erase it, how many times am I going to erase it? I mean, at some point, I got to have some stones and make a declaration here.
Now,
but we'll talk about that another time. Well, I guess we want to talk about it right now.
Did he say mechanical pencil? Did he say old number 2 for your what were the old testing slips we used to have? Would you'd fill in with the bubbles? Scantron, yes.
How the hell do you know that?
Yeah, you weren't alive.
Yes, I had Scantrons.
No, you didn't.
How you tell me?
He had Scantrons, you guys.
You had AI. Your whole life has been AI.
To Murgatroyd.
Heavens to Betsy.
When do you think I was born?
Heavens to Megatroid.
In 2020.
I brought a pencil.
You're post-COVID, baby.
Your official
My official pencil. Yep. I brought one for just such an occasion. I found one in my desk, and I go, I better bring it, because if they lose one of these games, then I have to hold the pencil up, because it's a theater, and I have to hold the pencil up in the camera and go, should I get my eraser out today at 7:20 on the fan? Okay, well, there you go. There it is. We'll talk about it later at 7. I don't want to get into pencils and things like that now.
But that's what people were messaging me.
Okay, well, they can message. They can call right on in and ask. But I'm talking about the real thing. It ain't about me. It's about the Cavs. And it's about how people take the Cavs. And yesterday was a bad day at the office. These things happen. Well, it was a terrible, no good, bad day at the office because they had missed 16 straight three-pointers. Normally, that's all you need. Like, I love when the coaches are eyeing down the box score coming out of the half, and maybe they'll do a sideline report when the game is on national TV, and coaches always go to the same stuff. They'll look at turnovers, they'll look at rebounds, offensive rebounds, they'll go right to those. But nowadays, the way the NBA is, if you tell me a team misses 16 in a row threes, I have a 98% certainty that they probably lost that game. And that's what happened. And furthermore, it's always not just missing the threes. They had at one stretch, I think Danny Cunningham had the analytics about those missed threes. Sweet Daniel.
9 of them were wide open catch and shoot. Celtics had nothing to do with it, missed threes. Which you want to look at that too, because normally that over the course of a season, over the course of especially a playoff series, that stuff normalizes. And then the other thing people brought up, you had is it called daylight savings, or is it what is the time change?
It's all daylight savings, isn't it, of some sort?
So every time the clock changes, it's called daylight savings?
I think so. And then you spring forward and you fall back. Those are the two differentiations, but it's daylight savings of some factor.
I would advise against maybe scheduling those games in the afternoon affairs.
According to the Farmer's Almanac, apparently farmers were fighting daylight savings for years before they enacted daylight savings. Some food for thought.
Yeah.
Some food for thought. Well, that might have something to do with it.
And then you didn't have
Boston was the road team. Didn't seem to bother them.
No, because remember, that was the problem for the Cavs when we went on the road and you played an early game. And then, not to mention, Jared Allen, who we had put him up for Easter Conference Player of the Month. He did not win that award, nor do I even know if he was a finalist. But his month of February was the best month of his career.
One of them.
And just an altogether amazing. I don't know if that's a revelation, but that was incredible. He and James Harden had obviously their chemistry they had built. Well, you didn't have any of that. So you didn't have that two-man game. So really, I just listed 5 things. And in the end, nobody cares.
No.
Because for the same people that said regular season games don't matter all season are now living and dying with every regular season game. And they lost to the Celtics, and now a bunch of people were in my mentions saying you want to do everything you can to avoid playing the Boston Celtics in the playoffs.
Well, I hate to say it, but I think I think that's true.
Well, they look right back to being
the
best team in the East.
Well, he sounds like a real guy who penciled in the Cavs to the NBA Finals, didn't they? Here's James Harden yesterday, asked whether or not, or I should ask James, do the Cavs need to be a little bit more like Boston, James? No, never mind. We'll get on to that here in a second. I want to know from you, though, should we do everything we can to avoid Boston?
I know. We've talked so much about a third of the league tanking, and now maybe the Cavs need to throw their hat in the ring for being another team that needs a tank, depending on where the Celtics are. The problem is I don't know where the Celtics are going to be because they're only 2.5 games outside of the 1 seed now. So how do you actively avoid Boston if you don't know what seed they're going to end up with?
All right, James Harden, should we avoid Boston or be more like Boston?
That's the standard right there. Part of the game of basketball is missing and making shots, but like our competitive nature, our competitive spirit, for a game, no matter if we're making shots or not, like that's what we do, and we force the game to be in our hands. And I think that second half, we found something in ourselves. So that's the level that we got to get to, Boston. And once we get there, because I know we're good enough, we will get there. Then we'll be a much better team.
Well, see, that's part of what I got in a bit of a snit about. I know that they're good. I just don't know if they're going to have enough time this year to get to that level of what Boston is. And I understand that people said, well, Jason Tatum hasn't played all year. Guys, I know that. Trust me, we know it very, very well. But this is still a team that's played together for a long period of time. Years they've played together with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. It hasn't always been great, but certainly it's a very, very, very good basketball team. The one that you have to raise your level of play up and answer to. And I don't know if that's going to be able to happen necessarily this year, Anthony. That's my issue with it. And that's not an excuse. I think that's natural. But if I'm being called a great big excuse maker, then fine, I'll be called a great big excuse maker.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it has anything to do with making excuses.
Well, then what the hell is it?
I do think, well,
because I'm just being called, everything I say, I will say daylight savings time is a big fat excuse. Bernat, I'm trying to make excuses. I'm just being honest about them.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying this, that if the Boston Celtics, this iteration of them seems just as dangerous, just as potent as the last one, which had, the unicorn, their version of the unicorn that was in there. Is he dealing with long COVID? What is going on with Porzingis? What is? I don't know. 2-year illness now. Anyway,
I'm not. Mysterious illnesses, I do not know.
So Boston, to me, going in, this is why I would not get too carried away about any of this, is last year, I thought Boston was as perfectly built as you could possibly be built. They had length, scoring, defense across the board, not just their starters, but also their bench. And that team lost. They were down 3-1 when Jason Tatum went down with the injury, and they ended up losing in the playoffs prematurely, and then he goes down with an injury. So I thought that team was going to be unbeatable last year, at least in the Eastern Conference, and they did not make it out of the Eastern Conference. So I want to hesitate. But this version of Boston, very different from that version of Boston. And this team looks unbelievable, and especially when they've got their bench playing the way they did. I mean, Pritchard, he is kind of in feast or famine, but more feast, and he was dominant yesterday. And you had their guys.
Judas Priest.
You want to talk about their spacing.
Didn't miss anything.
They don't just space the floor from the three-point line. They space the floor from like 30 feet, and they are just mixing in every time they need a bucket. All right, we'll break down the Cavs defense. We'll swing the ball around, and then we'll shoot a 28-footer, and it will not touch the rim every time. And so they, again, look so difficult to beat. And in the playoff series, they look tough to beat. But then again, I say this, I thought that was going to be them last year. And so I wouldn't just say the season's over, Cavs aren't going anywhere, but the realigned odds have the Boston Celtics as the leader, and now that gap to get out of the Eastern Conference is growing and growing and growing. Cavs are still number 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll make anybody feel any better. Cavs are still number 2 on the odds I'm looking at.
I would have to say, I think if we did learn anything, we did figure out the team that's the real team to beat in the East. I know there's been 4 teams that have kind of rotated it before. I think the team to beat in the East is obviously the Boston Celtics. However, Donovan Mitchell, he is your leader. He was asked about getting guys into gear. Here's what Donovan had to say about that.
As the leader of the group, that's kind of, it's not always just scoring, right? Like, It's on both ends of the floor. It's rebounds. It's like all the little things like that. That's truly what it is. And then obviously when shots fall, that always helps too, right? But for me, just trying to just push the energy high, right? Kind of set that tone and kind of go from there. But that's my job as leader of the group.
I think it's also going to be a little bit on James Harden too. I mean, he's the guy who's been there as well. And these other guys are going to. Now I know Jared didn't play, but some of these other guys are going to have to raise their stakes as well.
I'll tell you,
the lights are going to get bright.
I gotta say, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about this injury for James Harden because his dribbling is clearly impacted. And if he's not dribbling, big part of his game is that he has that ball on a yo-yo and he can create separation at any point. And last night, yesterday afternoon, it was last night when I watched the game because when I got back into town, but he would lose the bat. He would go to some of his patent moves and he would lose the ball and have to go gather it again. And now it throws off everything. It throws off the whole possession, the way this works in the NBA, especially when he has the ball towards the end of a possession. So I'm monitoring that very closely because that stinks. I mean, they traded for James Harden, and if he's having trouble, ball handling, that's going to be a big hindrance.
And Donovan was also asked a very weird question. Is he worried about being swept by Boston?
No, I mean, I think they're a talented team, and we've just lost 3 games, and we'll go from there.
Well, let's get to Boston first. I know that it didn't go your well during the regular season. Let's get to Boston first before we're asked such questions. About being swept. One game at a time, please. And it doesn't seem like it's a great matchup right now, and it seems like we're eating a little bit of humble pie this morning. But let's get to that postseason matchup eventually. 216-474-0092. All right, 6:45. We do have some news here for everybody. If you're driving into downtown Cleveland, there is a sinkhole downtown, so we will have something for you coming up at around 6:45 with some details of the sinkhole that's in downtown Cleveland and around West 3rd as you make your way into downtown today. And today is the day. Tampering starts at noon. Rumors can happen at any time. They can emerge at any time. Darryl Ryder, boots on the ground, 92.3 The Fan, YouTube Live, the free Odyssey app. Everybody's got to be listening because as soon as noon happens, which probably means there's going to be some rumors, too, that are happening before noon, like an Albert Breer's mailbag that he put out at about 10:30 last night. We'll get to all that because we could be making some signings, and we could have ourselves some brand-new Browns coming up here over the coming days. So don't go anywhere. 92.3 The Fan, 92.3thefan.com, YouTube Live for absolutely free, the free Odyssey app. There's nowhere else to go, and it's probably the most underrated position in sports. Speaking of money, if you got to overpay, then you overpay. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan. You don't have to.
8 to Wilson Mills. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
You can now watch The Fan live on YouTube. Catch the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima from 6 till 10 a.m. Baskin and Phelps 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. And Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin from 2 to 7 p.m. Each and every weekday. It's free. Subscribe to 92.3 The Fan on YouTube.
.643, we got a sinkhole downtown Cleveland. Finally came for us. I've been seeing sinkhole stories all over the country. It finally came for us. We'll have audio you got to pay attention to. Coming up at 6:43 this morning. Also, tampering starts at noon. Rumors could emerge at any time. We're tracking some down. Albert Breer has written about one in his mailbag, the Monday Morning Quarterback. You want to get wonky about offensive linemen?
Oh, it's my dream come true.
Okay, well... This is, hey, when you got 5 open spots basically on the offensive line, guys, this is where it's going to go.
5 times the fun.
Now you brought in Titus Howard, so now you got 4 open spots across the offensive line. So rumors can happen anytime. If you want to hear rumors about offensive linemen, folks, we are your home for them. 92.3 The Fan, 92.3thefan.com, and on the free Odyssey app. According to Albert, maybe the most interesting one that is a possibility. We'll get back to the Cavs coming up here in a little bit, but he says, Albert writes, maybe the most interesting one in terms of possibilities is Commanders guard Chris Paul. And then he writes in parentheses, no, not that Chris Paul, who appears to have priced himself out of Washington with teams like Cleveland and hot pursuit. Paul became a full-time starter for the first time 3 weeks into his 4th pro season and is trending to one of those, quote, he's got what sort of deals. So it means that whoever you get in free agency, you know, it's in terms of money, that's money. This would obviously be an overpay. You're going to overpay for everybody. I looked at the Tyler Linderbaum thing. I know that now there's some people out there that have the Browns linked. There's a lot that don't. And I know that he was offered a market-setting contract apparently by the. No, I don't know it, but it was rumored. I should say we've seen the rumors that he was offered a market-setting deal by the Baltimore Ravens. They haven't come to terms yet on anything, and there's several other teams where maybe they can offer him more of a market-setting deal for Tyler Linderbaum, who's a very, very, very good center. Now, it can't all be fixed in 1 year. I get a little nervous about what Andrew Berry had said about the Bears and things like that during the combine conversations that he had with the media, but here we are, and I don't think that this is going to get people dancing in the streets over free agency here, but this is something that you probably have to do. This is part of the building block because you haven't been able to replace a lot at the guard position. You haven't been able to draft well, and I don't know what the future is of Joel Bitonio, whether or not he's going to retire, or maybe he might end up signing on with another team for all we know. So there's a lot here that has to play out, and they're gonna take a look at this Chris Paul guy.
Free agency is weird to talk about these days because not only are you always trying to consider what your bank account is, but now you have to take into account every year as the cap goes up. $20 million every single year.
Yeah.
Well, it goes up for everybody. So it's relative. Any kind of advantage you think you have over everybody else kind of goes away when every team has that. And so I'm always shocked when anybody good's even available because the teams that had that guy, the cap went up for them too. So if they're unwilling to go after their own guy or to keep them in-house, like it makes you think, well, why is that guy available if the cap goes up $20 million every year? Like I get it. Every team has a bunch of needs. But that's also part of it. And then it also makes you wonder, well, when that guy becomes available, yeah, the Browns have money to spend, but so does everybody else. So what are you going to have to do to get a guy to go to a team that's been so bad the last 2 years? That's what's so hard about all this.
Well, it's obviously going to cost you a lot more money than it would with someone else. Now, I don't know if he's 27 years old, so is he necessarily ring chasing? I don't think so. Like Joel Bitonio, if he were not going to play for the Browns, he's going to play for a Super Bowl contender. That's how that's going to work. I know that the Patriots apparently. I've just been reading around some of the stuff on the internet. There are teams that apparently would like to have a conversation with Joel at some point here shortly and see whether or not he'd like to come back and play in the NFL and kick the tires, including obviously the Cleveland Browns. So there's a lot of ins and outs and what have you there. This is part of what happens when you aren't able to replenish through the draft. I think some of it and some of it you've been snake bitten by, even though I I just don't think that there's very much of an excuse whatsoever. When you got DeJuan Jones, who got hurt, why'd you draft DeJuan Jones? Well, you wanted DeJuan Jones because eventually you were going to try to replace your own first-round pick in Jed Wills with DeJuan Jones. And it just hasn't gone that way because DeJuan, who had a nice rookie season, has just been hurt these 3 years. And so you have to probably move on in other ways to find some stability there at either tackle position. I mean, it's all up for debate right now where, yeah, you could justify. I mean, seriously, you could justify going out there and breaking the bank on Tyler Linderbaum and Chris Paul and a lot of other guys because you just need so much. And you've already made the trade for Titus Howard.
Do you think there's an element of the fan base that is like, hey, maybe this is the time to have to go musical chairs at offensive line because you don't have your quarterback situation settled? When you got people like me screaming every day, get your quarterback situation settled, and everything else will come in. Everything else will kind of figure itself out after that. That's kind of what happened with Drake May with New England. But obviously, it doesn't always work out like it does there, where you get to the Super Bowl in year 2, despite the fact you had such a flawed roster just the year prior. Where are people on that? Like, that's fine. Figure out the offensive line this year and then go worry about the quarterback the following year.
I think I find myself in that camp. Like, just because.
So because he mangled the offensive line so bad strategically that Andrew Berry did not have the foresight to realize they were going to have to overhaul the entire thing, we're going to have to punt quarterback another whole year because of it.
But if I can't find, I find myself stuck in a spot. If there was a quarterback that I was really passionate about, go out and get that quarterback. I'm not very passionate about most quarterbacks that are. I get in passionate arguments about them, but I'm not passionate like they got to come here and they got to fix it. I got to do something to improve my team. So if I cannot necessarily make the right investment for quarterback that I want to make long term, I still got to make them better. I still got to put somebody in front of. Whether you like Shedeur Sanders or not like Shedeur Sanders or Watson or not, or Dylan Gabriel, even though Mary Kay says they're going to try to trade him. I don't know what they're going to try to trade him for. Whether you're going to try to trade him or what, like, you still have to put an offensive line up there to try to protect the guy. You still have to try to put your best foot forward there. Or just don't draft him, just don't trade for him. I don't know who you're going to put there, but you can't put anybody out. So if I can't make the quarterback better, I'll just sit on my thumbs and wait for my offense to suck even worse. I got to make a move, because if it comes to Chris Paul, you would say Chris Paul's 27 years old. Chris Paul would be a guy that you would hope is a guard for you for a decent amount of time. You're hoping the next 4 years if he's 27 years old. How old's Tyler Linderbaum, for that matter? Now, Linderbaum's an interesting case because he's a very good center for the Ravens. And according to what Albert had said, Linderbaum's camp is shooting for $25 million per year, which would be a 38% increase on the $18 million per year that Chiefs center Creed Humphrey just got in 2024 to become the NFL's highest paid center. I mean, that's a huge amount. So you're looking at, it says one example was the Chargers, whose GM, Joe Ortiz, was in Baltimore when Linderbaum was drafted, signing Commanders' Tyler Biadasz to a 3-year, $30 million deal after Bradley Bozeman had retired. I mean, we're getting into numbers and all the other things that go into that. You got guys who have a certain set of skills. I hate to take it from a movie here, and you need them. They got them. How much are you willing to pay for it? If Tyler Linderbaum, I think that center is probably the most underrated position in all football. Well,
I'm still stunned the Ravens aren't. I know Jeremy Fowler had a report yesterday that they're still doing everything they can to keep him.
Me too. I am surprised as well.
I can't, like I just said, with the cap going up for everybody, like that should have been music to the ears of any Ravens fans. Like, oh, hey, good. Then we'll just keep our good player at a position where it's really hard. Look at how many teams right now are chasing a center, driving up this price. Well, it's because once you have that guy, like, good, that's solved. All right, well, you have him, Baltimore. How are you letting him get out of your reach?
Because I'm thinking here, and this is right off the top of my head here, so go with me for a moment. If you have, you've already freed up some money because of Deshaun Watson's restructure, and you'll be able to pay that down over time because the cap's always going up about $20 million a year. So it's not as horrific as we all make it out to be, and this is probably the last time that'll happen, right? They'll probably move on. It'll be post-June 1st, the whole thing. Next year, I should say. Then you have a rookie quarterback, or excuse me, a second-year quarterback is Shedeur Sanders, who's still going to be relatively cheap. You might have a rookie quarterback that comes in here that's going to be relatively cheap. I don't think that either Kyler Murray or any one of the big names is really going to come flying to you for their chance at retribution in the NFL. So I think your quarterback options are relatively low-paying. So if you have a chance to go out and make a splash for one of these offensive linemen, making a splash is a terrible point of words because you're trying to say make a splash, you're trying to get people's attention. But if I can lock up some guys with the linemen, then I think I can afford it. And then in 4 or 5 years, while we are hopefully drafting guys to replace the guys we're talking about right now, which is an insane thing to say, we're hopefully drafting guys that can replace Chris Paul or possibly step in for Tyler Linderbaum or something like. Now, Linderbaum seems to be a pie-in-the-sky idea, so let's just put that there. But like, say you're drafting a guy who could replace Chris Paul or Titus Howard, for that matter, a guy you've already traded for and should be official later this week, right? If you're able to do something like that, then you're better. But I still am going on a cheap quarterback option. So who do I have to pay coming up? I mean, there's names that are there, but it's not like this great big contract that we're waiting to see who we can pay that stops everything else. Is there anybody else I can't think of? Like, I know you got Devin Bush. Devin Bush is going to break the bank as he hits free agency. There's not a whole lot else that you could think of that's going to. I mean, Carson Schlesinger here by the end of next year. By the end of 2027, you're thinking about doing a deal because he's a second-round pick. So you have that coming up, but he's an off-ball linebacker, which I think is improving in importance in the NFL, but it still isn't something that's going to set you back too far. I know we got dummy years at the end of Denzel Ward or whatever that means, so I don't know if it's that big of a thing. So, yeah, if you can go out and get your quarterback. I'm not trying to say punt on everything here, but if you can go out and help your offensive line, and if there's no quarterbacks out there, damn it, I got to do something. It might suck that we have a quarterback who's terrible and they got to play behind what hopefully will be a better offensive line, but them's the breaks. It's just one less excuse for whoever ends up playing QB for the Browns so we can figure out what to do in the future. 216-474-0092. All right, we'll hop back into this. How aggressive should we be when it comes to this offensive line? Or since we don't know what our quarterback situation is, who really cares? And we got a sinkhole in downtown Cleveland. What you need to know. And also, the interesting trades are being brought up all over again. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on the Fan. Northeast.
Pella products or no money down, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. Visit Pella.com for more info.
There's only one place to hear breaking Browns news. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan.
Browns news all day long. Make sure you're here. 92.3 The Fan, 92.3thefan.com, as well as YouTube Live. Tampering starts at noon. Rumors could come out at any time. There's some other interesting tidbits here from Albert's article, the Monday Morning Quarterback, I want to get to here momentarily. However, with that tampering starting at noon, we'll get to all that. But we do have a massive sinkhole in downtown Cleveland. This is over at West 3rd and West St. Clair, right in downtown. I think that's right on the way in as you start to make
the Justice Center.
Oh, right by the Justice Center. Yeah. Okay. So we have, this is audio of somebody who pulled somebody out of the sinkhole.
Yeah, it's from Channel 19.
Holy wow.
They were there like right after it happened.
All right, let it ride.
It was a terrifying moment for one man here in Cleveland this morning. He did not want to be on camera, but here's what he tells me. He says he was driving here along St. Clair Avenue. When he got to the intersection of West 3rd Street, he ran into this sinkhole. Thankfully, with the help of one woman, he climbs out of his driver's seats and to safety.
Coming down the street right here, and I seen this car go over, boom, like that, and he was stuck. He couldn't get out the car. The car was stuck on the hump right there, and I was able to open up his door and get him out the car.
Meet LaTanya Langford. She helped save this man. She says her first thought was to keep him calm.
At that time, I said, don't move, just stay right here.
Langford says after helping this man to safety, she quickly alerted police and deputies about his car in the sinkhole just outside the Justice Center. But somehow the man's car still runs, even after being pulled from the hole. The driver did not want to speak on camera. However, he tells 19 News he is 72 years old and appears to be okay. Langford was the emotional one. And I see some tears coming down your face. Are you getting emotional right now?
Yeah, because he was stuck, and that could have been my father, my grandfather, or anybody else. So I didn't mind helping him. I think God sent me here at the right time, at the right reason, to help somebody, and I was able to help.
In downtown Cleveland, Noel Williams, 19 News.
Audio courtesy of 19. Oh, my God. That is
72 and he survives the sinkhole?
That is horrific.
It was, they show the video of the tow truck actually pulling the car out. There was a giant hump, and if he doesn't hit the hump and kind of like, center point his car, he probably goes into the.
Oh, my God.
It was big.
Apparently, according to AI, which is never wrong, when acidic groundwater dissolves soluble bedrock like limestone, dolomite, not that dolomite, fabulous, or gypsum underground creating cavities, it voids.
Gypsum. Damn near killed him.
In this case, did, yes.
In this case, nearly did.
And then what's down there? What have you? Are there underground tunnels that get you into the old subway system?
Well, it's right by the Justice Center, so who knows?
Who knows what's down there?
Andy Dufresne's down there going, oh, this is my big break.
It's an old underground civilization of Cleveland.
Here's more audio courtesy of News 5. These are bystanders who see it now.
Yeah,
okay, here we go.
From this morning.
A tow truck was able to remove the car from the hole, and the owner was able to drive away in the vehicle. No injuries were reported, but it was a shocking scene for people walking nearby.
It looks like this area of the street is pretty patched over several times, so it's not that surprising that it happened here, I guess. But
it looks large enough for an entire car to fall into it.
Okay, first thing is, the car still runs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The car still runs.
The minute they pulled it out, he gets into that sucker and takes off and goes, I'm not going to be on camera. I need to get out of here.
I got to get out of here.
I'm not supposed to be here.
Second thing is, the woman does sound like it's the perfect texture for running woman who falls on her ass while running. That's what that reminded me of, the woman who was running on the snow. I think you might need to see that video. All
Cleveland,
right, so
we have car-sized sinkholes. That should be the new motto, the new bumper sticker.
This thing looks like it's 3 lines.
The state of our city is strong, and we're just getting started.
Imagine how much you're paying for parking now to fix that.
Well, you're always wondering, like, you see this happen all over the country every time. It's a national story. A sinkhole engulfs a car. Sometimes it's 2 cars at an intersection. And you're always wondering, how is that just not happening all the time then? If it happens in one spot, how is it not ready to happen?
I just think it happens more often than we think. Oh, you're talking about all over the city?
What I mean is, if the conditions were just right for that to happen there. How is it not happening right over here and right over here? And how does the whole city not collapse?
I wish I could tell you. I guess they're going to have to check.
Yeah.
So your
Or if the rain, I'm
your
thinking-
takeaway from this is how does our whole city not collapse?
I'm amazed it's not happening all the time.
The rain's coming down on the street, right?
Correct. That's how it works.
Okay, but if it's coming down on the buildings, it ain't going down right to the street. So the building should be relatively, sort of okay. I'm not sure. Listen, I'm not an architect here, and I'm sure as hell not anything else when it comes to it. But when it's coming down right on the street, well, I'm guessing over 40, 50, 60, 70 years, I mean, those streets are those streets. Yeah, a sinkhole might be created somewhere.
That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it's horrifically terrifying. Yes, it's scary. So I'm glad that.
So did they have to come out? Do the engineers or the people involved with the roads?
Well, according
did they have
to-
to come out and make a statement and say, "Hey, these other streets right around where that sinkhole occurred are going to be okay to drive"?
I think
have
so.
they given the go-ahead?
I think they should. I think
Right
something
now?
should be said, right?
Normally they just slap giant metal plates over the thing, and I have to drive over it for a year. But
okay,
maybe they'll do that here.
We'll see where it goes. It's a story we'll continue to monitor. I do want to notice,
Especially
though.
if your car falls in it.
No kidding.
Then you need to monitor it very closely.
Dr. John Steinbrecher of the Mid-American Conference will join
Is this
us.
going to be a problem for the MAC tournament?
Coming up at
All
9.
these Miami fans are going to come in.
It's not by the Rocket Arena, so at least you got that going for you. However, a couple of things from
Wait till
Albert's
the
thing.
wrestlers of various weights start stomping through here.
They actually have a sinkhole.
First thing is that you are in the running for a guy named Chris Paul. And I know a lot of Browns fans don't know who that is. He was a pretty good guard over this last year. Just starting this last year. Like, that's kind of who's in the market out there for you. There's also Tyler Linderbaum, where it's been mentioned by, I think, some Browns fans and some Browns sites. It hasn't actually been mentioned with a lot of folks. You will definitely have to overpay for him. One of the other things that Albert did write about, and again, he'll join Afternoon Drive coming up tomorrow afternoon. He joins them on Tuesdays. Malik Willis, he only wrote about Arizona and Miami. There was nothing there about the Browns. Isaiah Likely, not mentioned to the Browns right now. And the other thing I think he wrote about was, they're not, as of right now, any of the wide receivers that you've heard of, Browns are not linked to them. Does that say anything to you about what they could possibly do in the draft? Because it doesn't. To me, you signed 3 offensive linemen. Say you traded for one, say you signed 2 offensive linemen. That still doesn't change a lot of what I'm thinking of what they might do in the draft. The other teams and where guys might fall to me there's going to be some flexibility there, but I don't know if it changes that much of what I want to do in the draft. Real quick.
Yeah, to me, they have to not only draft a wide receiver, but they also have to probably trade for another one, right? Don't they have to?
More than likely.
They can't go into the season, no matter who it is. And I know we just talked about this with offensive linemen, depending on where your quarterback situation is. You can't really go into the season if you're trying to evaluate Shador, if you're trying to, I don't think they're trying to evaluate, Deshaun, but whoever you end up bringing in, because we all think they're going to add to the quarterback room with one elder statesman or a veteran of some sort. Mm-hmm. If they don't go after Malik Willis, they don't go after Anthony Richardson, they still have to bring in another quarterback. No matter what you do, you have to bring in another wide receiver because you just don't do that the minute you draft a quarterback or figure out your quarterback situation. Like, you'd like to get something started here with Todd Monken, don't you?
I would think so.
I mean, you're not putting all your eggs in the Isaiah Bond basket, are you?
No, but I think that this would spell out, again, the flexibility of what they have. I don't know what they exactly want to do, but it might spell out some flexibility of what they want to do at 6, depending on if they do go out and sign 2 more guys. Maybe that shows them they would be willing to move down from number 6 and maybe go after something different, or they might feel better about taking that wide receiver number 6 overall, whether it be Mekhi Lemon, whether it be Carnell Tate. Maybe if they do address that offensive line, they know fans want to splash. I think they want to splash. I think Andrew Berry, I think he struggled a little bit with offensive linemen. He's done a little bit better maybe in some cases than what we want to realize. With wide receivers, he hasn't done well, but he also hasn't used one with a first-round pick. So there are mixes there. 216-474-0092. All right, 722. A lot of people are asking about my pencil and whether or not I'm getting my eraser out when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers. We will address that this morning at 722 and whether or not I have to take a step back on where I think the Cavs are going to go this season. And Andrew is not trading Miles, but guys, you can't help but think about it once Max Crosby gets moved to your division. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. Watch us for free on YouTube Live, where rumors could break at any moment. We are 5 hours away from the tampering period beginning. That means the rumors are swirling now.
This
that it impacts next year as well.
Well, and so that's where I think a lot of people are so cavalier about this whole thing, is because it feels like 2027 is the true mission. Don't do anything to screw up the idea that if you see something you like in the 2027 class, you should be able to get it.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
We got a tampering period that's getting ready to go on at noon today. Turn us on 923thefan.com. Are your smart speakers? Turn them on the smart speakers. Us, Baskin and Phelps, Nick and Jonathan, Jake Volnick, everybody. Daryl's in this afternoon, midday. I don't know which one he's in for, but he's in on the midday on Baskin and Phelps. YouTube Live, you can watch us for absolutely free. Everything's free. We're not charging you any money. This entertainment isn't that good. We can't charge you any money for it. You ain't going to make a joke there? Or? No? Okay. Coming up at 7:45, there are a lot of people in Sarasota, Florida who should be really embarrassed by what the Limas did to them over the weekend. That coming up during Lima Likes at 7:45 this morning. So Max Crosby goes to the Baltimore Ravens for a trade. Immediately, people start thinking about what you could do. There are rumors about with free agency. We'll get to those here in a second, but this has to be addressed because every time somebody gets moved, I mean, you have to do it. It's like a house being sold in your neighborhood. I bring this analogy up all the time. If you live in a neighborhood, a house is for sale, you immediately pull up realtors, see how much they want, then you kind of pay attention to see how much they get. And I think it's the same thing when it comes to pass rushers for a football team that I think we were 2 wins or 1 win better than the Raiders. 2 wins, I think, better than the Raiders this last year. It's like you're not that much better than the Las Vegas Raiders. And they got themselves a little bit of a haul back from Baltimore. Baltimore makes a very strong move to go out and get Max Crosby. Now you have this division that has Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, and T.J. Watt in it. And I think T.J. Watt might be a little bit long in the tooth, but we'll see. But you have a division with 3 elite-style pass rushers there. One is the best of them, and then the other 2 are not that terribly far behind. But it does make you think, all right, what are we holding on to? Even though we all know he's not getting traded. He's not getting traded.
No. They people make it seem like it's almost impossible to trade him now because of the contract, and that'd be something.
Well, you can, but you're just raising the white flag. Like it is hard to field a football team, but you're just raising the white flag on everything for a long period of time because of the constraints that move would have for your football team in terms of a roster.
I guess I would ask. I thought that our GM was always, thinking about flexibility. Why would he pull a move? Why would he pull a contract signing that would limit our flexibility?
I don't know, Anthony. I think these are buzzwords and things that are fun to say. Like it's not an excuse for him, and he should be held accountable for it. But when you say we zag when other teams zag, I don't know. There's a lot of teams that zag. They get to the playoffs every year. We seem to do it by accident. We seem to get lucky when we're able to do it. At least in 2023, Like a lot of what you've set up here has been, well, we zag when other teams zig. Well, maybe you should zag then. Maybe you should zig. Maybe you should just go with the flow. And then even when they do it, like when he brought up the Bears, and I see how interested they are, and Chris Paul from Washington, I don't know if it's reciprocal, but they seem to be very interested in Tyler Linderbaum. Well, then, all right, what are you trying to do here? What are you really trying to do? But you just brought up a whole cavalcade of situations in one sentence with Andrew Berry. You pride yourself on flexibility, and here we have 2 contracts, one in Deshaun Watson, nobody wants to see, the other one with Myles Garrett that everybody wants to see, but also knows that he's not playing for a team that's very close right now, and you could get a king's ransom for a guy like him.
Yeah, think about the Crosby.
You're stuck.
The deal that was just consummated and how much more, right? Like the market for Myles. Both are great players, don't get me wrong, but Myles, I don't think there's any question, is above that. Now, part of it is every time we talk about this, there are Browns fans that are like, this is the only thing I have to root for is Myles Garrett. But my counter to that would be, well, we just saw him set the sack record, and he's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He has a chance to go down in history as the best defensive player I've ever seen or right up there. I know there are other guys that we can make a case for. All right, best pass rusher, whatever. Whatever you want to say about Myles Garrett, all the platitudes are there. Or I should say platitudes. The superlatives are there for Myles Garrett. But at the same token, what is the most responsible way to build this thing? And I would ask, like, I would not be ever against trading, but maybe I'm just further along in my life, and I'm more, I think, just onto the not just the business side of things, but I don't have the emotional attachment to guys. And I wondered, do people have an emotional attachment to Miles the same way they did Joe Thomas? Because when we got into the Joe Thomas discussions, I was willing to trade him for a first-round pick at the end because I'm like, you get a bonus first-round pick. He's going to retire soon. Why wouldn't you take the first-round pick? He's on a bad team. What are you getting out of it?
I can't say yes because I felt that Nick Chubb I think fans had a closer emotional attachment to Nick Chubb than they do Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, I think that there's a difference between beloved and respected. We did 40 minutes on this months ago. That I think that Myles Garrett is respected by Browns fans. I think that they respect how talented he is and how good he is and how teams have to scheme around him, and that he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And they like rooting for him, and I think that they really do enjoy that he's part owner of the Cavs and he's made his home here and all the other things. That's really nice because a lot of guys don't do that. I know it's not his only home, but he makes a lot of his home here. But I don't think that he's beloved the way that Nick Chubb is or Nick Chubb was or that Joe Thomas was. And I don't know necessarily where that goes. I think that makes it a little bit easier. However, I think a lot of Browns fans, I got to look at it both sides. If somebody were to offer me 3 or 4 first-round picks, like the one thing got brought up with 4 first-round picks, like you can't say no forever. But,
right.
But for fans,
everybody has a price.
Exactly. But when it comes for fans, I think a lot of fans go, guys, you guys talk every day about how you don't trust the general manager. I'm supposed to trust him with those picks when I have Myles Garrett here. At least when I go to the game, I have Myles Garrett.
But I don't trust our team to build a good team with Myles Garrett. So
I understand
either
that.
way, if I don't trust either way, then I need picks. That's the only way out of this eventually is picks.
And you are right about that. You are right in so many ways. But I'm just giving you the other side of it. Because emotions don't always make logical sense. That's why they're emotions. They're not thoughts. So if you have a fan that's going to the game, like did we not have the argument of whether or not people go pay to see Grant Delpit, wonderful player, really wonderful player. All right, we can argue him. I know they pay to go see Myles Garrett. There's not a chance in hell they don't pay to go see Myles Garrett because if they didn't, he'd already be gone. If they didn't pay to see Myles, they'd already be gone.
My counterpoint is that place was pretty empty as he was chasing down one of the coolest records I thought in
There's
football.
There's still people in there going. There's still people in there.
But there are a lot of empty seats as Myles Garrett was making history. That would never happen with a quarterback.
Imagine how empty they would be if he weren't there.
I don't know. It was pretty empty.
Come on.
That place is pretty empty.
Do you know how empty they would be if he weren't there?
You saw that stadium, man. There weren't a lot of people there at the end of the year.
I'm not giving a huge defense. I'm just telling you what it is. You have a chance to bring people to the stadium if you have him. If you don't have him, I don't think you have any chance to bring a lot of people to the stadium then. Not until you put out a winner, and nobody has faith that you're going to be able to put out a winner right now. I mean, how many people really? What would be Andrew Berry's approval rating right now? 20% for Browns fans?
Maybe. For some of those people, the arrow's pointing up because of the draft.
Well, I'd hope so because there's not many. There's not much further you can fall. So I would hope. Yeah, technically my arrow points up because of the last draft, but I think you're getting 20-25%, being generous of an approval rating there. You get rid of Myles Garrett. What else do they have to look forward to? They got Denzel. Are they going to see Denzel every week? I mean, honestly, if we're talking about star, I'm a football guy. I'm a football guy. Other guys are football guys. Yeah, I guess you're going to see Grant Delpit. But in all honesty, like the general public, are they really going to see all the other pieces? Not as much as they are seeing Myles Garrett. If you take away Myles Garrett, then it's not even a starting conversation with a lot of folks out there because they don't trust you to replace him. I could get you 4 first-round picks or say 3 first-round picks in a couple of seconds, right? And I can go, gosh, we could have all this. Yeah, but they're still not going to come close to Myles Garrett.
Do you think the fans would understand part of it?
Odds show me that 2 to 3 of those guys won't actually be very good at all.
But you don't think fans would they wouldn't know whether we're going to get the right quarterback. But you don't think fans would understand the approach of that ammo is going to be part of the targeted move for the quarterback in the quarterback-rich draft. And then we can stop talking about Malik Willis, Anthony Richardson, all the names that we talk about.
I think eventually they would. But I also think that they will want to throw the fans some sort of a bone, and he's the greatest player to play on defense in Browns history. And I think they see a future where he's only 30 years old. So at the end of all this, or 31 years old, by the end of all this, you're looking at a guy who might be the best to ever play the position. I mean, in all honesty, I don't know.
Which still doesn't bring you nearly
where you need
what
to
the
be.
Quarterback brings you.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so if I use the ammo in a Myles Garrett trade for the quarterback, then, all right, now there's a path. Now there is an understanding of where we're going, because we've played so many meaningless football games with both Joe Thomas and Myles Garrett.
I know.
Those are Hall of Famers. Those are some of the best at their position.
And fans may feel differently about it, but this is the situation we were in with Joe, and sadly, this is the situation we're in again when it comes to Myles. And with so much movement, I know people can't help but talk about it. But guys, if he were really considered to be traded, would he already be traded? Wouldn't he already be traded? Were there teams? I know that he didn't have a contract last year that he wanted, so he was going to get the contract signed and extension signed. But had they not done that, considering Radio Row and everything, you're telling me the Eagles wouldn't give up 3 first-round picks? You're telling me you wouldn't have found one team to give up 3 first-round picks for the guy? If they wanted to really trade him, he'd already be traded?
Well, I think part of the problem is with a lot of those hypothetical deals is where those first-round picks would be. The Crosby, the difference here with his deal is that they got a 14th overall pick.
Yes.
That is substantial. I think people are sleeping on just where that pick was. The Ravens missed the playoffs, and that pick was high. When we're talking about Myles Garrett trades, it's with teams that are picking 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, 32nd.
That's a really good point.
And this is 14th.
That's a really good point. It's not as much should they even consider it. I just don't think it's realistic to Browns fans anymore. I really don't.
I don't think the Browns would trade Myles Garrett to the Ravens, but holy cow, 14th overall pick.
216-474-0092. I want to jump back into this week, come back, and should I bring out my eraser after the Cavs got boat raced by the Celtics yesterday? A lot of people were asking Tone about that. Fine, we'll address it coming up next. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Tampering starts high noon. Put us on your smart speaker. You're going to be glad you did. Rumors could be swirling at any time on the Fan.
It's Anthony Lima.
YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
I think you're going to go to the NBA Finals with this team. With James Harden, with Evan
you're penciling him now?
I'm penciling it in.
Wow.
So, yeah, fine. I'll stand by it. I'll stand by what I said. I got my pencil right here. And I ain't using the eraser, brother. More on the Browns coming up in moments, okay? We got free agency coming around the corner. We got the tampering period that starts at noon. However, I've been asked, in this Cavs conversation brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside, who ask you to please enjoy your hard iced tea from Surfside responsibly. But I didn't see many texts or tweets. Lima said he was inundated yesterday after the Cavs got hammered by the Boston Celtics. Does Ken still have his pencil? Did Ken erase what he had written with the Cavs being in the NBA Finals? Explain yourself, Tone Master.
Yeah, so obviously I was a little late to the party yesterday. Not much of a party. Getting off the airplane, I thought I had pulled it off to perfection. I was not looking at my phone. I had my mother-in-law go through the 30 steps to try to record it on our weird system. And that was in the panic of trying to get on the airplane in Sarasota. So I'm like, perfect. I'm going to have this. And
Why didn't you record it?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it via my app. Wouldn't let me do it because I have to have the exact same internet service as I would have at home.
Why didn't you set it to record before you left?
Oh, I never know what channel the game's going to be on 4 days in advance. I didn't realize until yesterday. I'm like, oh, shoot. It's not going to be recorded the normal way.
No,
so she got it done. I was like, hallelujah, this is going to be amazing. And the father-in-law spoiled it the minute he picked us up. So that was the end of that. So I'm like, do I even watch the game?
It's not the 1980s anymore. You can't do that.
I know. It's impossible to pull off. So I'm like, all right, I'll get to this. So eventually I sat down on the couch. I already knew, the conclusion. I already knew the box score. I'm like, whatever. I want to see how this went down. So obviously it was demoralizing because I was excited. It was a home game. The Cavs had already had that sleepy game against Oklahoma City's backups. And I'm like, all right, they're not going to allow that to happen again. It's now time for a statement. And before you knew it, the first quarter, they're getting drilled once, the starters went to the bench or Harden went to the bench. And then the second quarter, they only scored 11 points. So it was demoralizing. And then I looked at social media because I had this full bank of responses going after us because apparently we weren't allowed to be excited about the Cavs. This team that wins 60% of their games, I'm not allowed to be excited. One of the hottest teams in the NBA over the last 2 months. I guess we're just supposed to be down on their chances to do anything in the postseason. We have it hard enough during football season. Like, allow me to get a little excited about the basketball season. And then they make this trade for James Harden. He seamlessly fits in right away. And so me and you are doing pep rallies every day. I know the afternoon show has been putting the blanket on all of this, but we've been trying to get excited about it. And then when a game like that happens yesterday, it's all negative and it's all this team's going nowhere. They're no different from the past iterations of the team. And then a bunch of people came after me and said, what are you going to say about Ken's pencils? Ken still haven't penciled in.
I'll tell you right now, I know Nick Wilson's champing at the bit to go after us, I'm sure. I'm sure this afternoon's going to be nothing but a beating. This pencil ain't afraid. I ain't afraid. One,
you're going to use it as a weapon? What are you going to do with it?
Well, I'm not, we'll see where it goes.
Jason Bourne did that.
I mean, did he really?
He can pull it off.
Oh, yeah.
I saw the first two movies. I don't remember, but it's been a long time, so I don't remember. I haven't seen how many Bourne. Sorry,
they spun that off into like 10.
So I got my pencil here. I'm not just going to turn right around and erase them for two reasons. One, I said what I said. All right, one bad game, and it was horrific. The second quarter was horrific. One bad game where Donovan Mitchell was clearly on a minutes restriction. One bad game where Evan's still on a minutes restriction. One bad game that Jarrett Allen wasn't even in. I'm going to erase the Cavaliers. What type of person would I be if I just erased them from then? And I had every Tom, Dick, and Harry coming after me yesterday about it. And right now the Cavs are in a weird place. I'll tell you the second reason for a second. I'll tell you right now, the Cavs are in a weird place. Last week, like right after you left, it was this beating I took about, hey, I don't necessarily agree with Nick, but I can see where he's coming from, where there's a lot of people who want to line up and call the Cavs soft. and there were a lot of folks who got in. This is what happens when non-ball knowers watch basketball. I'm going, no. When you are accused of being soft by so many people for such a long time, it becomes a label that is hard to shake. And it's going to take more than one regular season game to shake that label. I saw Nick's point on that. But then after this game where I'm going, hey, you got guys on minutes restrictions. You got guys on minutes restrictions here. You did not play well. I'm not going to blame daylight savings time or anything like that. You played like garbage. You shot like garbage. The second quarter was abysmal. All those things pointed out doesn't mean I'm just going to stop and say that they're all of a sudden garbage here. And I had the other half of folks coming in saying that I'm making excuses for them, pussyfooting around. This is why I soft pedal. I'm making excuses for all that. I go, they're not excuses. It's the truth. Well, and listen, I'm going to hold them accountable. This is number 2. I'm going to hold them accountable because when you make a trade like that for James Harden, you don't make the trade like that just to have a nice regular season now, do you? So, no, I'm not going to take away their name on where I have them as far as an NBA Finals team just because they got smashed by Boston yesterday.
Well, and you could call this part of it an excuse. I'd say it's a justification, but
not happening.
One of the special things you've had since James Harden came over was that 2-man game with Jared Allen. Well, Jared Allen didn't play yesterday, so I would have liked to see how functional that was against Boston because this is a team, obviously, that even the team said afterwards, it's a measuring stick. Boston now with Jason Tatum back in the fold, and he looked to me, I mean, I've seen 2 games out of Tatum. He looks to be about 70% of who he is, so that's formidable. 70% of Jason Tatum is really good when you consider Jaylen Brown has taken, I don't know if it's a leap, but he's taken a step forward.
Yes.
So Boston is as well coached as it gets, and they have their system down. And you saw it again, not just the way that they clamp you down defensively, but they've gone through some turnover over the past year. And offensively, they just come at you. They space the floor. They move the ball well. They play so unselfishly, and they are a brutal team right now. And now they're looking like the class of the Eastern Conference. I had to wait to see Jason Tatum as part of it before I was going to anoint him. And he's only played 2 games, and he's on a minutes restriction as well. But from what I've seen, yes, they're the best team in the Eastern Conference again. I hate to say it because they've swapped out, Porzingis is gone, Horford's gone, Holiday's gone. They've gotten younger in all those spots, but they seem to be just picking up where they left off. Now, they were a team that I thought was going to run right through the East last year, and they didn't. They fell short. So we'll see. You get a little carried away. I thought Oklahoma City was going to run through the West last year. You saw how hard their run to the championship was last year. I mean, remember, 7 games against the Indiana Pacers, and the Pacers' best player went down at halftime, and they had the lead. The Pacers did. Mm-hmm. So I would feel it's a little premature to watch a regular season game in which you didn't have Jared Allen and say, that's it for the Cavs. They're done. With that said, yeah, Boston looks like the best team in the Eastern Conference. I'm not going to scream and yell at anybody who says that. It's going to be hard for the Cavs. We're adding James Harden in the final quarter stretch of the season, and they have not been healthy, and you got 2 guys on a minutes restriction, and you didn't have Jared Allen yesterday. But look, once the playoffs start, I'm not going to be making any of those excuses.
So this is the pain of it. If I'm willing to admit that Boston is the best team in the East, don't I have to erase?
Yeah,
don't I have to erase the Cavs?
Honestly, probably.
So I guess I can't admit that the Cavs are not the best team in the East.
It's up to you what you want to do, but I think it's pretty clear the Celtics are going to be the best team.
The other part is it not a checks and balances? Because, again, you didn't just trade James Harden or trade for James Harden to have a couple of good games in the regular season. Like, you traded for James Harden to get to the NBA Finals. So is it not a way that I hold you accountable? Even though I do go into this, and now I have to self-examine here. 216-474-0092. Let me throw it out to you here. I have to self-examine because I also said Friday that, hey, if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals with the lack of practice, with the new piece that they just got, it's not just some ancillary piece. It's James Harden, for crying out loud. If they lost to Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, am I going to stand here and stomp and moan and call for everybody to be fired the next day? No. If they lost in the second round, would I say that? I don't know. I might be pretty upset. If they lost in the second round, if Boston ended up being the matchup, depending on how things work out here. Because the Pistons are only, 2.5 games ahead?
Yeah, 2.5 games
Which, by
ahead
the way,
of Boston.
there's a J.B. Bickerstaff quote going around the internet right now, and I think it's taken way out of context. I shouldn't care, but I do think that the thing about not caring about Boston or whatever, that I think it's an unfair context to be put in. Without context, an unfair light to be putting him in. So that's where I'm at right now with the Cavs. It's a very good team. I think that they had a bad day at the office yesterday. There's no excuse for it. I'm not blaming any other stuff. Like when you brought up daylight savings, I'm not going to do it. It's a bad day. You had 4 days off, came out, you played like garbage. It's a bad day to play like garbage with everybody paying attention to you. But we got to figure out exactly what our expectations are for this team, because you get the general population out there. General population, I think that they're interested in James Harden. I don't think they trust this team. I don't think they trust him. I think there's more people that may agree with where Nick Wilson has been standing on things than you and I want to admit. Yeah, or than you and I wanted to realize.
And I remind people, the Knicks fans don't trust their team. Detroit, they don't have any playoff success to hold their hat on. The only team that does is Boston, and Boston flamed out last year. Remember, they were down 3-1 when Tatum went down with the injury. They were going to lose that series. They were losing, big in that game. They were down 8 when he went down with the injury. So, even Boston fans, they're feeling really good because they're just getting Jason Tatum back, an all-NBA caliber player, and even if he's not 100%. So, what does that mean that Cavs fans don't trust the Cavs? I mean, who does right now in the Eastern Conference? I mean, seriously, who does? That was the whole point of making this trade. You made this trade because the East was supposedly wide open.
216-474-0092. BJ in Cuyahoga Falls, you're next up on the Fan. Hello.
What's up, fellas? They got my name wrong. It was DJ, but it's all good.
All right.
It ain't that important.
Go ahead.
I couldn't agree more with you, Ken. Watching the game yesterday, I'm sorry, Lima, you wasn't able to see it live, but watching the game yesterday, it was, if you ever play basketball, and I played basketball for a large majority of my life, sometimes the shots just don't fall. Like, it just wasn't falling. And I think that long of a layoff after the All-Star break and then having that 4 or 5 day break, it was some great looks. They just didn't fall. So I didn't make that big of a deal about yesterday's game in particular. And also, I think claiming Boston is the clear favorite after Jason Tatum's 2 games, I got nothing but respect for what Jason Tatum has done. I've been through a plethora of injuries, so to go through that and be back, he deserves a ton of credit. But I don't love Boston. Boston is the same. They're the same. They play the same style as they played with Porzingis and Drew, and they don't have the exact same personnel. They just chuck up threes. Like, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are excellent players, but they just chuck up threes. So if they can shoot themselves out of a series, and they can shoot you out of a series. So I don't know if I'm that big on them. I still think the Cavs.
Of course, we took 7 more threes than they did yesterday. But I get
BJ, thank you.
Them chucking threes was a big part of why I think they fell last year.
You missed 16 in a row at one point, did you not?
Yeah.
16 3-point attempts in a row.
And I saw Danny Cunningham had the number that they had missed 9 straight wide open threes that were good creation. They weren't like, oh, we're taking bad threes at the end of a shot clock. No, we were wide open, catch and shoot threes, 0 for 9. With all that said, I still have some questions about how we're going to defend Tatum and Brown. And Pritchard off the bench.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
The Harden trade and the Ellis and Schroeder trades, while I liked all of them, they did not solve us being able to defend legitimate wings in this league. And even you saw Pritchard had his way versus Schroeder and Ellis, and those guys are supposed to be able to slow him down, but when he is on, he is tough to stop.
It's odd. I think that those trades help satisfy what you need to do against the Knicks. I really do. I think those trades helped you satisfy what you need to do against the Pistons. I think you're a terrible matchup for the Pistons. But when it comes to the Celtics, Tatum and Brown, these are 2 MVP candidates every year. And it doesn't help that you don't hit your shots. But again, Donovan Mitchell played, 32, 33 minutes last night? Or yesterday afternoon? They took him out during a run in the third quarter where they came back into that basketball game. This is a guy on a minutes restriction. So I'm supposed to say that you guys have no heart, you guys have no decency after a trade because you lost to Boston when you have a minutes restriction and guys are out? No. It's not about excuses. It's about being fair and honest about it all. It's going to be tough. Boston is a hell of a basketball team, and they might beat you. They may very well beat you. But I'm not going to change any of my principles or anything that I've said based on a Sunday afternoon game where you had your best player on a minutes restriction. You did not play well, no doubt. But it doesn't change where I'm at, where I think that they could go for their future this season. 216-474-0092. There's a lot of people in Sarasota, Florida, who should be embarrassed after what the Limas did to them over the weekend. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Lima likes in 5 minutes on The Fan.
It's
Lima like? Or does Lima no like? Like?
Tell me likey. I'm liking it. I like it a lot.
No like.
He doesn't like you.
I don't like you either.
You're tacky and I hate you.
Like or no like. No like or no like.
But I definitely knew what I liked, and I definitely knew what I didn't like.
Oh, you know I love some salary cap housekeeping, folks.
I'm alive.
Your Cleveland Browns have done some restructuring of the contracts. Andrew Berry has done it again. The genius has pulled it off because he did not only the restructuring of Deshaun Watson's number, but also Denzel Ward, ladies and gentlemen, restructured contract as well, converting $2.5 million of 2026 league year roster bonus to signing bonus for salary cap purposes, adding 2030 avoidable year. So Watson restructured to allow them to, put an actual NFL roster together, which they had to do and had some urgency to do. And Denzel Ward, Kenny, are the Browns playing chess while everybody else plays checkers?
No, everybody else is playing chess too. They're probably just playing chess better than you. Everybody's playing chess. If anybody's playing checkers, you're probably the one playing checkers. I mean, if you were any one of these other teams going, oh, yeah, you're going to restructure the contract of the guy your fans don't want to watch. Oh, yeah, you're playing chess, all right. We're just playing chutes and ladders, huh?
But what kind of checkers are we playing?
Yeah, the Seahawks and John Schneider are playing hungry, hungry hippos.
Isn't it amazing, though, that this cap, I mean, this is what it really means is the bet that the Browns have always made.
The Patriots are playing Don't Wake Daddy.
The bet that
game was a good game.
The Browns have always made is that they're going to be able to withstand the enormity of a contract in which funny thing is, even if Watson would have been really good, they still would have restructured.
Yeah.
It just so happens that not only have they not really had the full use of Watson, he's also been bad when they've used him, which actually might mean, hey, well, it's good that he hasn't really played that much because he's been so bad when he's played. But that the salary cap has gone up $100 million in 5 seasons. That is what is staggering to me with all of the minutia. You can get down in the weeds on the salary cap, but it's gone up $100 million. So it's gone up for everybody.
I tried to think of something because it was nothing but basically sports talk jargon that we couldn't get into on Friday because that's all it would have been when Darryl was with us going like, hey, they were about to restructure the contract. They restructured the contract. And I had Darryl explain it all. It's like, hey, this really isn't the type of knock that you think it's going to be eventually as time goes on, because if it's going up 20, 25 million every single year, that's not really the hammer that you think you're going to have to pay for it. Now, did I see the one dummy year had like $90 million? Dude?
Don't worry about that one.
$99 million.
That one.
Where does that go? How does that all get?
Well, we don't talk about that.
How does that get baked down? Is that ever real?
We'll figure that out later.
Does Denzel Ward get $99 million at some point here?
You don't want to talk about that at parties. I think it's buried very, very deep.
Well, I think everybody would just look at me going, yeah, how do they do it? I go, well, I don't know. Just be sitting there holding a drink and then I just walk out of the room. Like, you guys take care of it. It's like when I fart and leave a party.
I know there's one guy, Joe Banner. Joe Banner says every time that this is going to ruin the Browns. And I'm like, well, they seem kind of...
Joe Banner didn't do enough to ruin the Browns in his own right. Yeah, Andrew Berry.
Well, what I'm saying is,
I got to tell you, now you got me going, and now I'm mad.
We're already ruined. We're already bad. What does it matter, I guess,
Andrew Berry is Gil Brandt, Howie Roseman, John Schneider, Les Snead, Bill Polian, Tom Donahue, any great general manager wrapped up into one compared to Joe Banner. I want Joe Banner. I wouldn't want Joe Banner near my youth football team, let alone an NFL
Banner
football
even
team.
Here?
A year.
Too long. Too damn long.
I think his claim to
he
fame
did enough damage in the
year for the Cleveland Browns.
I think his claim to fame is that they renovated the stadium. That's what he was here for. I don't think he really had anything to do with the team.
He didn't. Oh, you want to go ask Zach Jackson what he had to do with the team?
No, what I mean is when
go ask Zach.
What I mean is when a GM is in one place for 1 year and they're rebuilding, how can you even measure whether the guy was good?
Anthony picked a guy out of a magazine. Anthony, he fired the head coach and told the owner that he was going to go get him Jim Harbaugh.
Well, who was the coach that he fired?
The coach that he fired was Rob Chudzinski.
Well, I mean, was Rob any good? Like, that's what I mean.
Wait,
I think
was he or was he not part of the group that had Chip Kelly in wined him and dined him for a whole day. There had to be multiple meals, and then he just said thanks, but no thanks.
What I'm saying is,
this is ridiculous.
When you're rebuilding
Defending
and you bring
Joe Banner.
No, it's not defending him. It's just
Sounds like it.
I don't know what to say about him. He was here 1 year.
Anthony Banner over here.
And any GM that comes in for the Browns that's trying to remake the whole thing, well, if you get 1 year, probably going to fail. And it failed. Just like Andrew Berry's been a failure, a colossal
You really
failure.
wanted to give him more time? You wanted to give Joe Banner more time?
I don't know what they would have done. I have no idea. It's a weird thing to even talk about.
I think that judging from what we can judge over the year and a half he was
bad,
here,
just like
there was
Andrew
plenty
Berry
of
has
things
been bad.
were going to happen.
The good thing is
And I would still rather have Andrew Berry until the day I die instead of Joe Banner.
My point is that they should have moved on from Andrew Berry already. We would have been better off. They moved on from Joe Banner. Yeah, if a guy is really bad, move on from him. The problem is we still have Andrew Berry, who's been a failure. So I think that's the issue. The thing is, when you have a failure and he's been here 6 years, and now you're signing up for year 7 of the failure, what do you think you're going to get?
And that's how bad that Joe Banner
failure,
was. I'd still rather have year 7 of the failure than the previous
I don't
failure.
know. I'm not having much fun talking about a Browns team that's really bad the last 2 years. Meanwhile,
a lot of people play Don't Wake Daddy. This is amazing. I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have an unbeaten basketball team in the state of Ohio, and they were electric in a close game, 110-108 overtime win over OU on Friday night. What does it mean?
Lima.
The MAC tournament is going to be front and centered. We said they had already sold out the club seats for the championship game, and they're very close to the semifinals, and I wonder what that place is going to look like all week long in Cleveland. It is going to be awesome. As Miami comes in, not only the talk of the NCAA, they're 31-0, and they've even got some of their biggest haters backtracking. Listen to Bruce Pearl on CBS.
I got Miami of Ohio in the league, the MAC. Oh, okay? They may not be the best team in the MAC. It might be Akron. It might be the Zips. 5 years in a row, they've won 22-plus games. John Gross, a coach that you've got a great history with.
Yes, big time.
They play fast. They're God-oriented. I'm rooting for Akron to make the upset. That way, 2 teams get to the NCAA tournament out of the MAC.
You're putting Miami, Ohio
I'm putting Miami, Ohio in. They're in.
Weird way to backtrack by basically talking up Akron the entire time.
Still said they weren't the best team in their own conference.
But he says they're getting in. Is it true that Akron is the favorite
I
to
believe
come out of
so,
the MAC
yes,
this
the
week?
betting favorite.
What do you think about that? That's good bulletin board material for Mr. Steele's basketball team.
I'm very intrigued by this. Now, you know I'm an Akron guy. I'm an Akron guy, but I believe in Midwest excellence and exceptionalism. And I believe that I want the very best for the MAC. And if Miami actually weren't to make the NCAA tournament, I think that's very bad for the future of the MAC. Dr. John Steinbrecher will answer that question with us coming up at 9 o'clock this morning.
And you've got all the Ohio teams that are going to be here this week. That is good news for the MAC tournament. One final note.
Lima likes.
We have a new winner. Ken, I know you were watching very closely to the second annual Sarasota Suncoast Half Marathon and 5K. The female winner and second overall, here it is.
First overall female athlete coming in the home stretch here. Congratulations. Second overall male and third overall athlete. And that was our champion female, Sarah Lima. Congratulations, Sarah Lima, champion of today's female division. Nice job, Sarah Lima.
Lima time, believe it.
It's Lima. You ass.
Out of state.
Whoever that guy is. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
She was.
I called you Lima
victorious.
before I met you.
Now, look, was this the biggest field? Was this the baddest field you could assemble down in Sarasota?
I don't care. I'm no runner.
Now, did the
they should be
top
embarrassed.
Sarasota female runner wake up that morning and go, I'm about to win this thing, and then realize, oh, wait a minute. There's an out-of-towner, there's an out-of-stater that's come in to beat my ass at running?
Yeah, I think it was like some 21-year-old girl who runs down there at one of the colleges. Sarah beat her. But the important thing was Sarah's getting ready. What really matters is going to be the Cleveland Marathon.
Oh, that's a big one.
And obviously the
They're
Glass
doing that
City
in Cleveland
half.
this year, right?
It is going to be in Cleveland. I'll be emceeing
Well,
it.
you got to redo the route. You got a
Because of the
sinkhole downtown.
Becomes a cross-country event.
Becomes the end of guts.
We the aggro crag, yes, in the middle of downtown Cleveland.
If you don't dress like Mike O'Malley for this.
And they're going to be giving away the special pair of BK Dynacells for
Those
the winner.
Those are good ones.
With the binoculars
Those were
they
great
always used to
shoes.
give away.
The Bushnells.
The Bushnells, yes. Boy, kids love their binoculars. So Sarah,
you get older for all
Sarah,
reasons.
not bad for what was just supposed to be a casual
That was amazing.
warm-up run.
I thought it was amazing.
Did she
made
get
jokes.
second amongst the men or third amongst the men?
This second guy beat her at the very end. He tracked her down.
I really didn't think she'd win. And then when she did win, I go, man, if you take it seriously down there, she signed up for it on Wednesday. She had 4 days to prepare for this thing, went down there, beat everybody at the end of the vacation, not the beginning of the vacation, at the end of it.
Now, here is the thing. She won a 1-hour massage, right? But it expires in June, and we're not coming back down. After this break, I'll tell you what my plan of attack was to try to get something out of this with the 1-hour massage that we were unable to use.
All right. You left me hanging on something.
You tell me if it was beyond the pale.
That and Andrew Barry borrowed a line from Teddy KGB. I will splash the pot whenever I want. We have rumors swirling as the tampering period starts 4 hours from now. Keep it here, 92.3 The Fan, and play us on your smart speakers, wherever you have smart speakers at around you. Friends, Ken Carman here for K.
difference between.
I don't think they're reaching.
Yeah, I think they are. I think acting like you've accomplished anything because you traded for James Harden, that's not an accomplishment. Accomplishments.
I mean, you added a top 20. You added a top 20 NBA player to the roster.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
You had one little thing you wanted to add right there at the beginning of this segment before we go headlong into free agency and the tampering period that starts at noon, which is only 4 hours away. That's why you don't go anywhere. You play us on your smart speakers. You play us on YouTube Live. You watch us for free on YouTube Live. It's all free. It's excellent entertainment. We're giving it to you for the love of God. Go ahead.
And I think we're going to have some news breaking, probably just NFL news over the next few hours as this stuff starts to shave up. So it's a huge day. Here on
we
the
have
Fan.
A couple of re-signings, people staying recently. Are you talking Browns? Or?
No, just all together that kind of sets the tone in free agency because we know this stuff starts to trickle out earlier than when it's allowed.
Mm-hmm.
But I had it in Lima Lakes. The wife won that race down in Sarasota.
Yes.
The half marathon. And in that dominance, she won a 1-hour massage, which, I mean, that's a runner's dream. It's anybody's dream that, if they don't mind getting touched by a stranger like that. For some, that's a little too invasive.
I've never had a massage. I don't think I'll ever get one.
But the people that get them, I mean, they would take them every day if they could get them, but they're really expensive. You got to add the gratuity as well. People never factor that in on the free massages. But she got that, and she's like, what are we going to do with this? We're not coming back down. It expires in June. And I'm just like, let me give it to somebody. And we'll figure out, and I'll try to figure out how I can get something out of this because we're not going to be able to sell it. We're not going to sell it to somebody, maybe for half price. That would have been nice.
Everything has a price. You could sell it.
But my thought was give it to somebody with the hotel staff and try to cash in on points because they get a little, if you've ever complained during a hotel stay, sometimes you can get something out of it.
I've never complained during a hotel stay.
Well, ask your wife about this.
She would know, yeah.
I've had legitimate gaffes, like they forgot to do this or forgot to do that, and they've given me a free night in points.
You're telling me the night in Altoona when I had to stay there and they didn't make up my room and I had like dirty clothes, somebody else's dirty clothes when I walked in, I could have gotten something out of that?
Sometimes.
I was young and naive. I'm sorry. Plus, there was a King's right across the street. Have you ever had a King's restaurant in Pennsylvania? Folks, unpaid testimonial, the open-faced roast beef sandwich. You've gone to heaven, except it's
worth
Pennsylvania. Oh, it's worth the trip.
So I decided to give.
Says in heaven, this is Altoona.
I decided to give Sarah's 1-hour massage to the nice lady behind the front desk in an effort to try to get some hotel points.
Did you get anything?
I did not get anything.
Then you should have taken them back.
Could I have done that? Can I call today and say,
couldn't do a let me scratch your back and you scratch my back?
You didn't. You didn't
massage for your back.
You didn't offer it the right way.
No, I brought it up. I brought it up right in front of her, and her. I don't know if it was her manager or whoever it was.
Let me speak to your manager.
But she was so thankful, and we had a mix-up. The day earlier, they couldn't time up, doing the beds and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we just had a messy room and full garbage and no toilet paper. So they had already screwed that up, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be easy now. I'm giving them a 1-hour massage. Got nothing out of it.
Did they know you were going to complain about them on the radio later on? I bet they would have changed their tune.
Oh, I'm sure they're okay.
There's a lot of people here who would like to travel to Sarasota, and now they're going to avoid the hotel you stayed at.
We stayed at a nice place.
Well, was it that nice if they're not giving you anything back for a free massage and they're not cleaning up your room?
This is one of the better ones.
Sounds real nice to me.
Money-wise.
Oh, well.
This is one of the nicer ones.
So at least you got hoodwinked. I'm also getting responses from friends that say I'm crazy and not want a massage. I don't want people touching me. I'm a hugger and everything like that. I just,
But can't you just get past that for the first minute and be like, all right, we've already come to terms with the fact we've got a complete stranger on my back.
No.
Now it's time to enjoy this?
No. Shirtless, getting touched.
Do you know how much these cost now? Like
nudity, even? Nah. That's fine. You pay all the money you want. I know there's a lot of people who get massages.
Do you ever get these for Liz?
Yeah, I've got them before. I don't want to be there.
After tip, these are getting up to close to $200.
That's fine. Good for them. I'm not interested in being there. No, I don't. No. Have you ever had this done, Owen?
It's been a while. Back in my travels.
We're not talking about that type of thing, sir.
There's gratuity.
We're wondering what Owen and Robert Kraft had in common.
It's legal over there.
Oh, we figured it out.
Reckless speculation.
Just an NFL owner and billionaire and Owen.
Bob was stateside. Owen was in the Pacific Rim. It's different.
Went to the source.
Thank you very much. Should we make a splash for free agency here? We have some we have some rumors here. This isn't necessarily news, but these are rumors here. Albert Breer, Monday Morning Quarterback, he says you guys you Browns, you guys, us, are very interested in Chris Paul, not the former NBA player. The Commanders guard Chris Paul. Boy, that would be a Brownsian thing. We signed the basketball player. Commanders guard Chris Paul. Browns are interested in him. He says he's appeared to have priced himself out of Washington with teams like Cleveland and hot pursuit. Paul became a full-time starter for the first time 3 weeks into his fourth pro season and is trending to one of those, quote, he got what sort of deals. So you're going to have to overpay for a Chris Paul. Tyler Linderbaum, he is not seemingly in the mix for the Cleveland Browns. Albert writes about some teams. Does not necessarily say the Browns. He does. Excuse me. He's the only person who basically says there's the Browns that are showing interest in here. He says I expect the Commanders, Raiders, and Browns all to be in bidding. I think he's one of the only people I've seen to say the Browns are actually in on Tyler. Like the Browns, I think would be in, but maybe Tyler Linderbaum would be back in on the Browns. Like that would be kind of the thing as we're getting close to the nitty gritty here with free agency. However, I think the question is, would you splash the pot in free agency? A lot of people just say, yes, it's not my money. You brought up a valid point, though. It doesn't seem because Malik Willis, Mary Kay said the Browns would be interested in Malik Willis, and they might be hot and heavy for him. I'm getting nothing this morning. It's all Arizona. It's all Miami. Albert wrote Arizona. Albert wrote Miami.
Yeah, you're not really seeing the Browns linked to him.
I'm not seeing anything. For a lot of the reasons that I've stated before when we've had these arguments about these QBs, you don't have a whole lot to show them that would tell them that this is going to be the place where they get their careers started again. The Kyler Murray, the Malik Willis, the et cetera, guys. Why can't we have a rebirth type of quarterback? Well, this is kind of the situation you're in, is that you have a quarterback room that will probably be missing Dylan Gabriel at some point here, which I don't think that's going to break any Browns fans' hearts. You have a quarterback room that's going to be missing Dylan Gabriel. You have not a lot on your right now we're trying to piecemeal what we're going to do with the offensive line. The wide receiver room is barren for the most part. There's not a lot you can get with the quarterback. So if you can't go out and make one of those quarterbacks play for you, depending on how much you love those guys, maybe this is music to your ears. If you can't get those guys to play for you, you got to build some way. You got to get this thing going because you still have quarterbacks that are on your roster that you'll have to protect.
Well, I just know that right from the get-go, and maybe he was downplaying expectations just in case, but Andrew Berry during the Todd Monken introductory press conference said right off the rip, don't expect us to be going on some spending spree. Don't expect us to bring in a ton of veterans. We're going to be really young.
But he said they'd be judicious. Sure. I don't know if that's exactly the word that he used, but he said that they would be targeting some people there.
I think immediately it made people like me think, yeah, they want to attack, offensive line, and they're gonna do that, but they're not gonna be setting the market at positions. I don't think they're gonna be doing that. At this stage of the Browns,
if they go get Tyler Linderbaum, they're gonna be setting the market at that position.
Yeah, so they're gonna outbid all these other playoff teams that are desperate.
You are so real quick. You're so desperate for decent offensive line play. This Chris Paul deal might be, if you are actually going to be able to get him, that might be market setting or around market setting because Albert said it right there. Quote, he got what type of situation? You don't have many offensive linemen out there that can do a good job for you. Even him, I don't know. It's been 1 year that he's been starting and he's been sturdy. I don't know if I could just throw him into the mix and say that everything's going to be fine. But you're still going to pay to find out whether or not he can. That's it. So I think it depends on for so many people. I think there's a lot of folks. If you don't have a quarterback that you're really excited about, what's the point of investing in all those guys? I think you need to still stress yourself. If you're not going to be ready for 2026, regardless, you got to be ready for 2027, depending on what quarterback you're going to either bring in or what quarterback you're going to take or whether or not this guy takes off. Because whoever is playing quarterback for the Browns, it looks like they're going to have a significant challenge ahead of them in 2026. That doesn't mean you just punt to 2027 with the other positions because depending on what you have to do, you may have to have guys on 4-year deals that are free agents because you might have to give up future draft picks to put yourself in a position to take that guy. This today, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I know we got to go on this, 216-474-0092. I'm going to tell you guys right now, this today, with this tampering period opening up today, we're going to start to see some of the deals blossoming this afternoon. This is a very important day for not just this season. I think it's a very important day. If we're talking offensive linemen, it's a very important day for the next 4 years for the Browns. Because if you get to 2027's draft and you are a 6-7 win team, well, we're going to have conversations about the current quarterbacks that they have, without a doubt. But if you're not sold on any of those quarterbacks, you're going to have to give up something to move up there. Because there might be some teams like the Raiders who they could have Fernando Mendoza. They could still suck up the room this coming year. Well, are they going to be a team that you're willing to move with? There could be another team out there that has young QBs that might be sucking up the room that are still committed to those QBs. You might have to move up there. That's a big issue. 216-474-0092. We got to wrap our heads about how important this day really is to the Browns. Dr. John Steinbrecher going to join us in less than an hour. We'll talk Mid-American Tournament with him, Mid-American Conference Tournament with him, also Sacramento State joining it football-wise, and saying goodbye to a Browns legend. Just get ready to say hello to him later on. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. We'll tell you who that legend is coming up in 5 on The Fan. Window Nation.
Bottom of the 7th, Guardians prospect Travis Bazzana is 0 for 3. And all the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone during the offseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Some breaking news of whether or not you'd want him, because you know we got to do it. However, free agency is here, nearly officially. Keep it locked, 92.3 The Fan. For all the latest breaking news, all powered by Exteriors Plus. John Steinbrecher, 9 o'clock this morning. The doctor, John Steinbrecher, Mac Commissioner. According to Ian Rappaport, as well as others, Tua Tagovailoa has been just released by the Dolphins. That about a minute ago. So he is, oh God, I hope I got that right. Somebody just put it out there. Ian Rappaport, that was about 8 minutes ago now because it was right before the break. Tua Tagovailoa, they're releasing him. Miami on the hook for $54 million guaranteed with offsets, meaning Tua Tagovailoa will play for the minimum next season for someone else. So he gets put in the same category as Kyler Murray, basically. All right. You know we got to do it. Do you want to do it?
I told you I'd take Murray over Tua, but so I think that makes it obvious what I think about this. But no, I'm not into this as a reasonable, professional solution at quarterback right now for the Browns.
Plus, he's going to have to play in the cold.
Was that a clip or was that John?
That was me.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay, I'm not demeaning John. What does cold weather got to do with it?
Tua has like this ridiculously terrible record when the game time start temperature is under like 40 degrees.
Oh, it's not good for Murray either, by the way. I saw the Kyler Murray numbers over the last week.
Didn't Kenny Pickett play in cold weather?
Well, he played in the same city that he played college.
I mean, does weather like
in the same stadium?
Is that the end all be all? Do I sit there and do I yell about weather if we had a great bit? We agree on Tua. I think this is official show stance. Like, nah, if you were going to make a move like that, it would be for Kyler Murray then. It wouldn't be for Tua. I think we all feel the same way. It's like, no, kind of damaged the whole thing. Not interested.
Kyler's right-handed.
Yeah, Kyler's right-handed. I don't know how much that matters either, but what the hell? What the hell, right?
That's the difference.
Do I mention the weather? Do I mention cold weather? He can't play in cold weather?
That did get brought up, obviously, for those Miami teams. That was consistently a storyline for them, even as they got into the playoffs. So
it's been that way for 40 years with them. Late December, they're going to fall apart now. I mean, it's always been kind of that deal.
Now, was that the team? Was that their makeup? Was it the coach? Was it Tua?
I can't really say. My dad would be able to tell you better. All right, we just have to be on the record with all this that Tua is available now. The whole show doesn't want Tua for a multitude of reasons, whether it be weather, whether it be damaged goods, it just be there's better options available.
His whole game had to transform because of the concussions, unfortunately. Not like he was always a takeoff and run guy or whatever, but it caused him to be even more skittish in the pocket. And obviously, you always wanted to get Tua outside the pocket, but his inability to just play like a normal quarterback really, really hurt his ceiling. And not even his ceiling. I think it just impacted him as a quarterback altogether.
I think you're right. I think that he's been a pretty good point guard in his career when he's had that talent around him. He had that talent around him in Alabama. Things had to be schemed open. I can understand that at Miami. He did have a little bit of success in Miami, obviously, after what started out to be kind of a mess. But no, in that draft, he's not like Justin Herbert, where it seems that you could throw a lot more on Justin Herbert's shoulders. Now, he's not out of the woods, but it would feel like you could throw a lot more on Justin Herbert's shoulders, and he could be able to take you a little bit further. For the Dolphins, they create this option. Well, I think then you have to explore the tentacles of, and this is no fun to a lot of fans out there, is that probably, if I were Malik Willis, I'd be looking to a lot of different other places, I got to tell you. Because if you want to talk about options to play quarterback, I'll tell you right now, if you really want Malik Willis, Anthony, you should be pounding the table against the Dolphins about bringing Malik Willis in here. The Dolphins are a team that looks like they're getting ready for 2027. except if they go out and get Malik Willis, depending on the money they give him, the contract that they give him. But if you want Malik Willis that bad, Tone, like they're getting rid of Tua down there, is this not your chance to pound the table for him? I don't really understand either destination. One has Marvin Harrison Jr., the other one has Jalen Waddle. Both teams look like they're trying to get ready for next year or the year after that. I don't understand it from Malik Willis on either end. I wouldn't understand it from our end here, but if you're considering Arizona and Miami, I guess the weather's the only thing that would be the contributing factor to it. John is right about that then, because I'm like, well, the Browns situation, I don't know. Miami and Arizona don't have the type of defense the Browns have.
I don't think Tua. I don't think Tua is gonna. Like in his case, I don't think this is it for him, right?
Well, I'm not talking about Tua. I'm talking about Malik Willis. Though.
Well, Malik Willis, I think is somebody who can be selective. So. Yeah, if he has a team that is more stable, a situation, Anthony, I think he'd probably be more prone to pick that than Cleveland or Miami.
What makes Arizona and Miami more stable than us?
No, I'm saying I don't think Arizona is stable either.
But if that's the two teams that Albert Breer has that are honing in the most on him, I'm sorry. If I don't even want to make the argument for it, because you know where I stand on all this, but I'll make the argument for it. I guess I'll play devil's advocate. What does Miami and Arizona have over us? Weather's one thing. Weather can't be the end-all, be-all. If I'm willing to offer you, I think we proved in college football, if I'm willing to offer you millions of dollars more, then you should be able to come play for us. Because if I look at it team by team, okay, Jeff Hafley's there. There is some experience together. That's a defensive coach, though. If you were that excited about the offense, maybe that's one of the contributing factors to it. I know that they do have a better number one wide receiver than we do. Neither defense is as good as our defense, if I'm not mistaken. They've gotten rid of a couple of key pieces down there in Miami when it comes to their defense. Like, I think Miami's making it not official, but almost official that they might be getting ready for 2027. And what quarterback class there is to go there. Yeah, well, then if they're really ready, then why are we linking Malik Willis to either one of these destinations?
Yeah, Graziano has, among the teams like the Dolphins and the Browns, also has the Steelers and the Vikings. And if it's the Steelers and the Vikings, I think he's probably going to choose if it were up to them and it was all the same money.
And that would make sense. And I've been trying to say Pittsburgh for a while, and it's just Will Howard. And I like Will Howard too, but I'm thinking, all right, if you wanted to go for consistency, they would have a better number one than what we have in Pittsburgh. In Minnesota, they should have a better number one than what we have, obviously. So you have those two components there. You have consistency there with those two teams. You have two teams that make the playoffs to an up and down rate, how much is expected out of them. There's opportunity for either one of those places. And yes, one does play indoors. Those places make sense. Miami and Arizona, if those teams are in the mix, then why wouldn't the Browns be in the mix? If you really wanted Malik Willis. Like, there's a lot of people who seem to want Malik Willis, then why wouldn't the Browns be in? That's my question. Like, if it's those two teams and you like Malik Willis at all, you should be pounding the table that says we should be in the mix for this guy compared to those two others that are not better situations than ours.
Yeah, I think all these bad situations are kind of lumped together, to be honest.
So it turns into how much money you can make?
Every time I see like the Browns, the Jets. And these are two of those teams. Obviously, they went over, had turnover in their coaching staffs just like we did. The one thing we got going for us, I guess, is that we've got an owner who has been aggressive and has had more cash to deal with, which supposedly is some big advantage in the cap, but has it been a huge advantage, in free agency or anything like that?
You've spent 2 months, a month and a half. I mean, you basically could take a wheel and put different QBs' names and spin the wheel, and that day we land on that QB. Mm-hmm. You and I have had arguments about Kyler Murray. You and I have had days of arguments about Malik Willis. You've actually opened my mind up a little bit to Malik Willis. And here I am, 3.5 hours away from the tampering period, and I'm not hearing any passion out of you from the Malik Willis stuff or any of the other stuff.
Yeah, I would say.
Have you come around to the idea, Shador, starting the year and just getting ready for 2027 and beyond?
I think it's more that I'm kind of assuming that the Browns didn't have the interest in Willis or that it wasn't mutual.
Well, shouldn't you be mad then?
Here's my mad face. Yeah, I mean, I would take a shot at Malik Willis, absolutely.
Do you get what I'm saying here, Owen?
I mean, I've been talking about Malik Willis for 2 months.
Okay, so the chance when it actually comes down, the Browns are not going to go after Malik Willis, and you're just okay with it? I know me, and I know if I really wanted a guy that bad and the Browns were going after him, I'd probably be very upset.
I think I have said repeatedly that I like Willis. I think he is worth taking a stab at. I think you can cut bait if he's really bad this year and it's just a total disaster. So I don't think it would be that prohibitive. So, yeah, go after Willis. I think I've been pretty adamant about that for the last month and a half.
He's an expensive quarterback. It's not like you're just going.
I don't think he's middle of the road. He's middle of the road in terms of what starting quarterbacks make in this league. I mean, if we're talking $25 million a year, some people have said the 30 is
well, now it's going down lower. It was at 30 last week. Now it's down to 25.
I just the more and more guys have talked, they're like, he'll get 20, 25. That's what he'll get. All right, that's below.
I don't know.
I mean, the franchise tag in the NFL is going to be 45.
I'm kind of picking up a weird vibe here.
Did they say it's going to go up to like 45? I haven't heard even north of that.
Are you picking up a vibe?
Like I get where you're coming from.
It was 6 weeks of knockdown drag out. Right. Like it was basically, and people coined the phrase.
The culmination day a month ago, and
I think it's just. I haven't seen anybody say it's actually going to happen now. That's two-sided. That both the Browns aren't really in on him, and
so you just accept that.
And he's no, but remember he's not in on it. He's a free agent. He could go wherever he wants, and the Browns are just never going to be, for any quarterback that's available and has multiple teams that they could go after, the Browns are always going to be considered on the lower end of that, right? And it's if it were one thing, if it were just up to us, but it's not up to us.
But I don't think here I am making an argument for a guy I don't even want. I don't think we're a worse situation than Miami and in Arizona. We're not. Are we? Are we really that much worse off than those two teams? I don't know how you can say
that with that much confidence.
Look at them.
I think if you were to ask people around the NFL, they'd probably say, yeah, the Browns
are. It's the same five. Yeah. No, we're getting out of. Wait a minute.
Hold on.
You're in
a Cleveland bubble right now.
Am I?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know. I've looked at both of those teams making these arguments because I wanted to argue against Malik Willis. I don't see much of a damn difference.
I don't know that free agency just comes down to football play, right? And all three franchises have been really bad, right? One has the defensive player of the year. That's the only difference. Maybe that's why you're putting the Browns above them. But when you go destination-wise, when you throw football out of it, it's the third place.
I mean, Miami, look at their wins over the last 10, 9, 9, 11, 8, 7.
Right.
Like, yeah, Miami's considered and has been considered, and it has been better than the Browns.
They have been better than the Browns.
Pretty decisively.
They have been better than the Browns, but then they get rid of their people. They get rid of their general manager. They get rid of key pieces on defense here. Like, they're in a build situation themselves.
Even before that, Adam Gase had a 10-win season.
Okay, but I'm not even going back that far. I'm going right now.
They've had 3 coaches that they've been able to get double-digit wins with.
But the Adam Gase era doesn't matter to me about signing Malik Willis.
No, I know. I just think that if you were to ask anybody in the NFL over time, like who's been a worse setup, it's the Browns.
I feel that all the same are in the same $5 bin. I don't know if I really want to make a huge argument about which team is bad between teams that are known to be bad teams,
well, if you're
like the Jets and the Dolphins and the Browns and the Arizona Cardinals.
If you're Malik Willis and you're reaching out to other guys around the league and you're going, what situation is the best situation, not even from a football playing standpoint, but from an organization standpoint, go back to those NFLPA grades. The Browns were what, 31st, 30th? The Dolphins were number 1.
That's a difference.
On all their
I can't make a difference.
Number 1?
$3 million doesn't make that difference. I can't make a difference with $3 or $4 million, or even $5.
Yeah, I don't know that $3, $4, or $5 million does make a difference in that.
Well,
but we're talking about
because it's not
we're
about
already
this
in the
contract.
20s and going into 30s anyway.
So I want everybody to understand this here. If you're not in on Malik Willis...
Ken is stunned that people might not have a favorable look of where the Browns are
No,
at.
I'm not stunned about that. I'm just stunned that they're
if it was me, Ken, and I was a free agent, I would not pick the Cleveland Browns over the Miami.
And not to mention it's South Florida, and they're going to talk about the taxes.
It's not about me being pro-Browns, Mr. Brown and orange-colored glasses. That's not it. I'm more perturbed that I spent 6 weeks arguing about Malik Willis and Kyler Murray and Tua and every QB that could be a possibility under the sun, and then this one over here just shrugs his shoulders at me and goes, yeah, that's the situation. So was it really anybody but Shador? Was it really anybody but Shador? Or were we just trying to get through shows here? Because if it were me and I really wanted a guy that badly, I'd be pounding the table right now.
I just said I didn't want Tua. I don't want Anthony Richardson.
So you didn't want anybody. So you you've agreed with me this entire time.
No, I said I wanted Malik Willis. I would take a stab at it.
Doesn't sound like it right now.
But if it doesn't seem seem like it's within the realm of possibilities. And what are we wasting our time?
I didn't realize we just accept our fates around here.
We
don't say anything to make them better.
If I say it louder, the Browns will do it.
Shouldn't you just be saying to throw money at them then? Is not money the end all be all?
Every time
if you believe in him that much,
every time I bring up a dollar value, everybody says it's the craziest thing of all time that he's only started 6 games, and I'm like, well, that's how you get the guy. I don't know what else.
I never said it was crazy. I might have said it crazy day one. I haven't said it crazy since, and I walked that comment back if I did. All right, guys, like we're going after some offensive linemen who you've never heard about. Except for Tyler Linderbaum, they've definitely heard of him. You'd never heard of Chris Paul beforehand. Maybe 2 of you have. Okay? And here we got this quarterback situation, unless it's Ty Simpson, which it really shouldn't be Ty Simpson. I mean, you might need to take model glue and paint my face right next to the table here because this is ridiculous. If it ain't Ty Simpson, and it damn sure ain't going to be Fernando Mendoza, like, what you see is what you get with your quarterback room. We're supposed to be okay with this? All you guys yelling at me about Shador and how I'm Mr. Shador and how I'm a leader of some fake cult, all you guys yelling at me, this is your chance. I got 3 hours before the tampering deadline here. All you guys yelling at me about quarterbacks, you have your chance. The king who's yelled at me about quarterbacks over the last six weeks has his chance. He ain't even yelling at me right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've said for about a month that I would go after him.
Okay.
I haven't changed my mind on that.
Doesn't sound very passionate. I'm not getting much passion out of you.
I'll say it louder. Go get Malik Willis. Here we go.
Okay, well, you
boom.
Can. Okay, the sarcasm is
I'll add another
fantastic.
boom exclamation.
We would just accept. You guys say I accept losing around here. My God, 216-474-0092. All right, Dr. John. I kind of want to ask Dr. John Steinberger about this at 9. I'll get to you guys coming up in 5 on the Fan.
Anthony Lima 4.
Cleveland sports fan, Daryl Ryder is on top of every headline. Listen to his reports on the station with the most local sports talk in town. 92.3 The Fan, powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
I'm going to be accused of trying to be difficult. I'm not trying to be difficult. I have to bring in an impartial third party here. I guess I have to bring in Owen. I might even have to bring in Keith. I'm not trying to defend the Browns and say that they are a better situation than any of them. I just think they're comparable. The only difference would be, I guess, weather. Okay, weather has a significant part of it. Okay, I guess. But I'm getting people saying, social media reactions are brought to you by
Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
I'm going back and forth with Colin here, who's a listener, and thank you very much, Colin. He's like, we can't afford Malik Willis, and I go, yes, we can. Jack Duffin has played it all out. You can afford Malik Willis, and I really did think I was going to have this great big fight on my hands about Shedeur and starting the season and at least having him start the year and see where the season goes. And if it does go our way, fine. If it doesn't, then fine. And I'm just surprised. Here we are. And I'm just over 3 hours away from the tampering period, which starts at noon. Rumors are swirling. They're releasing Tua this morning in Miami. We already know that Malik Willis is going to be a free agent. We already knew that Kyler Murray is going to be a free agent. And it's just quiet. I go, well, have I represented the great silent minority this entire time? Have I just this is your time to strike, guys. The deals start getting made this morning. The deals are probably already starting to swirl right now. They call it a tampering period, people ain't tampering already. So you can go for one of these QBs. Or you can just do Shedeur and have Shedeur start the season. More than likely. Of course, I know I have my theory about, if it's a real true competition, I'm afraid one guy who used to play at an MVP level might look real good against Air in OTAs. But that's a different thing, right? So let's go to this. Now, you guys know I like Shedeur, fair enough. But if they found somebody better, okay, let's have that discussion. But I've had these. It is March 9th. So basically, since the end of the season, we're going on 8 weeks now, actually. I've had these fights with you over these QBs through the playoffs, through this offseason. And here we are in the day. And I'm like Hulk Hogan trying to hear anybody out there yelling at me about anybody but Shedeur Sanders over here. And I got to tell you, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm not trying to even defend the Browns. I'm just shocked at the lack of what I'm hearing right now. I thought the moment, I really did. I can make an argument that at least has you in the same category as Arizona and Miami. These are not great franchises. You are not a great franchise either. It doesn't mean the Browns are better. It means the Browns are comparable. And if I can't make this argument for this, then I think what people are telling me, without telling me, including you, Anthony, is that, in your heart of hearts, let's see what Shedeur does this year, and then we'll just get ready for 2027.
Yeah, look, by the way, Arizona was closer to first offensively last year than the Browns were to Arizona.
I know.
So
I know.
I think you might have been a little off on comparing us to Arizona. But either way,
I'll compare all day long. No,
I look at the NFLPA grade things, and it's hard to tell because all those coaches got fired and all that, and that's where it comes to. But facilities-wise, Miami's number one overall. Arizona's 31st. The Browns are 30th. Ownership-wise, Arizona's behind.
Yeah, we're not
going
to win too many face-offs. I know you hate to say it or admit it. We're not going to win too many face-offs with these teams.
I just admitted it 4 times to you over the last 20 minutes.
You put us all in the same bin, and what Owen's telling you is we're not. We're not in the same bin.
I think bad is bad, and I don't think there's much of a difference in bad. I think it's all a big $5 bin at Walmart. That's what I think it is. And I think
I might think that.
If I get
what
in a big
Owen
fight,
is telling you is the players don't think that.
No, players, and that's who he's going to talk to, and the agent.
I'm sorry. If I get offered $3 million and I'm going over some NFLPA thing as my difference between 3 extra or 4 extra or $5 million,
but somebody with options, and it sounds like Malik Willis has options. It's not just going to be about $3 million. It's going to be situation. He just sat there and rehabbed the entire storyline on his career with just a start and a half and development in a good building. And so good building is what Malik Willis is probably thinking is going to help him long term and help him get the next contract. So it's not just going to be about the 25 or 20. You're saying $3 million more. It's not about that with the next team. Because if that were the case, he would just go to the highest bidder. It's going to be about where do I go where I can tear up this contract and catapult me to the big numbers, the $50 million, the $55 million down the road.
Listen, man. Okay, that's a great point. And if you think that Malik Willis could be that much of a difference maker for you, you should be yelling that money counts and you should be spending money on him.
Oh,
that's been my issue with this whole thing. I don't even want the guy. I've been consistent
for a month and a half to say that I think it's worth. I don't think the salary is prohibitive. I don't think it's gonna doom the Browns for 5 years if they miss on him.
So if it's,
I have been honest. I have no idea. I have no idea if he's going to be good. How could anybody?
You got.
It's like a rookie. It's the same thing as a rookie. And I've said the difference is he's a rookie that would actually come with about the same guaranteed amount, maybe even a little less than a first overall pick. And you get the benefit of having him already developed in the NFL, and you've gotten a chance to see him in games, high leverage situations, in cold weather, down the stretch on national television. That is where I said I think he's got the edge over some of these other quarterbacks.
Then why aren't you saying you bet on him over Shedeur Sanders? That would be it. Because if it just comes down to money, I mean, you're giving me all these reasons that I'm familiar with.
Well, I have said that. What do you mean?
Then why aren't you pounding the table for him right now?
Let's go get Malik Willis, baby. Let's go. I mean, I think I've just kind of said the same thing for a month and a half.
I cannot be nuts. I love how you're the one getting me to be mad. Because, again, did I not spend 2 months yelling with this man? 2 months.
So you know where I stand.
Yelling with this man. So and then the day it's open, we just accept it.
So
am I crazy,
You're just
Owen?
asking me things we've gone over.
Am I crazy?
I guess I just repeat.
Am I crazy?
At the start of every show, I should have said, here's my opening statement again for the 42nd consecutive day.
What you've done.
I think it would be a good move to go after Malik Willis.
What you have done.
Thank you, Anthony. Let's move on. We've gotten that out of the way.
It's the most important position on the field. It's arguably one of the most important positions in sports. And a day that you have where you could actually go after the guy, nothing is said. It's all quiet on the Western Front. That's why I don't believe anything of what you've just said to me over the last 2 months, other than just to raise my blood pressure. At least when I'm in making arguments about Shedeur Sanders, I meant the arguments.
Seems to have happened again.
Because it's anything to just get me worked up, but at least I stand for something. I don't know where you stand on anything.
Well, you've already flip-flopped today from where you stood on that.
What did I flip-flop on?
You already said today in the last segment when you got all heated that I don't want Malik Willis. That's not what you said a week ago or 2 weeks ago. You're
I said I was open-minded to Malik Willis.
You're close.
But I'm not going to sit here and make a big bunch of arguments.
How do you feel today?
You were the one who wanted to replace him right off. And then you and the other ones are the ones who want to get.
Or did you just flip-flop
I'm showing
again?
more passion. I haven't flip-flopped anything. But at least I didn't say something for 2 months about wanting to bring in another guy. And then the day you can actually start to bring him in.
Let's see if Ken says exactly what he said last week.
I don't know, Ken.
Kenny, Malik Willis.
I don't know, Ken.
Yes or no on Malik Willis today?
No, fine.
Well, that's a flip-flop.
That's not a flip-flop.
A Ken Carman classic.
That's not a flip-flop.
That's as good as one I can come up with.
I'm just trying to make your argument for you that you gave me 2 months ago and that you continue to give me.
Ken has gone back and forth, and now the pendulum has swung again. I've been consistent.
No, have you?
Yes.
This is not consistency.
You just asking me 1,000 times when I told you 1,000 times
I'm going to point it out.
that I would go after Malik Willis. It's not going to get me to change my mind. I don't change my mind as easily as Ken does, apparently.
If Shedeur Sanders goes out there and sucks up the room.
In 4 broadcast days, he changed his mind again.
I didn't go out there and change anything. If Shedeur Sanders goes out there and sucks up the room, I just want everybody to know this. I want to replay this audio because you had your chance. You had your chance to pound the table, to yell at Andrew Barry, to yell at the Hassams, to yell at everybody, to rise this boat, to raise this boat in this tide, and you didn't pound for it. You're supposed to be what's out for what's best for this franchise. And all you wanted to do was just get through the segments with me. You don't stand for anything when it comes to this quarterback situation.
You can say it louder and more mean and more red-faced, just because you have a different hue on your face.
At least I stand for something.
Because you're arguing. Did Kenny not say last week, not only was he open to Malik Willis, he would take a stab.
He did say that.
What did he say today?
He said no to Malik.
What changed?
If the money was right, I said I would. Did I say I would take a stab? Did I say I would take a stab? I said I could be talked into it. I didn't say I'd take a stab.
For it, but maybe
I did not say I'd take a stab.
Where's Ken going to be on Friday?
If you're telling people you could be talked into it, you're saying you would take a stab.
No, I'm not. If I wanted to say I would take a stab on him, that means I'm actually bringing him a contract and signing the contract.
Let's see what Ken stands for in hour number 4.
I never said that.
Because in hour number 3, it's different from last week's hour number 4.
You're hosting with Kenny Carman, not Nick Wilson. I know we're rather large people. But you know I stand for what I'm saying.
No, it's your job, Ken.
I'm sorry I brought that at Nick. Now he's going to rip me later on today, and I apologize for that, Nick. Please, that one got out of the cage. I'm sorry. Because apparently I'm the bad boy. Why is it always me? Why is it always me? I just want to show everybody. I'm trying. Ken is just ready to punt until 2027. No, I'm trying to find ways to get better. I'm just trying to find ways to get better. I'm trying to find ways to get better. 216-474-0092. Coming up next, Dr. John Steinbrecher. Boy, I feel bad for the situation he's walking into. He's the Mid-American Conference Commissioner. No, I'm not talking about college basketball.
About Miami versus Akron?
College sports. I'm talking about this situation here between you and me. The future of the MAC tournament.
Which Miami does he find more appealing?
Sacramento State. Which Miami does he like better? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, the good doctor, and 5 on the Fan.
Anthony Lima, 4Q.
92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
NFL free agency begins 4 p.m. Wednesday, and this is the place to talk about it. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I've had people tweeting me, when is the ticket giveaway? Here you go. Fan, looking for a winner right now. Enter the code word KEY, K-E-Y, at 923thefan.com before 10 a.m. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Mid-American Conference Men's Semifinals.
There we go.
Friday, March 13th. It's this Friday, 5 p.m. at Rocket Arena. Get the tickets at rocketarena.com. It's all from Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. What a time. Not only is it conference tournament week, we've already got some automatic bids taken care of, and we've got more to give out this week. NCAA tournament. This is a beautiful week as it is warming up out there, and it's got to be warm and sunny in the MAC office as we bring on Dr. John Steinbrecher, Mid-American Conference Commissioner. And Dr. John, what a pleasure to bring you on at a time like this where I think the nation's college basketball eyes are dialed in and focused on Cleveland, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they ought to be. We've got several of the best storylines in all of college basketball. And, you know, your mind immediately jumps to what's gone on with the Miami Redhawks this year, 31-0. Good heavens. I think people are finally getting it that that's tough to do. I think there's been like 4 teams that have gone through a season undefeated in the past, 40, 50 years. If everybody could do it, they'd do it. It's really challenging. Longest conference win streak in the country across any league. And interesting, we have the second longest conference winning streak in the country with the Akron Zips, who have won 16 conference games in a row.
Dr. John Steinbrecher joining us on the show. So, the argument about Miami getting in, getting out, it worries me. It worries me for the future of the conference. I know you can definitely pour cold water on that, and I'd love you to, because it's like, well, if they can't even get in with an automatic bid at 31-0, I think this is a 2-team league. This has been a 2-team league before that could get multiple bids. They haven't, except for like 1 year. What's your argument if Miami doesn't make the tournament and there's real strong fights about? Or what's your argument, I should say, if Miami doesn't win the tournament, there's really strong fights about whether or not Miami should get in?
Since 1985, there's not been a team with 2 losses or less that has never been in the NCAA tournament. Let's start there. Mm-hmm. And then let's start with, you can talk about all of this strength of schedule and wins above the bubble and all of this other stuff. At the end of the day, it gets down to W's and L's. We sometimes forget that. We worry about all this other stuff. It gets down to W's and L's. They beat everybody that was in front of them, and that's flat out remarkable. They very well win this tournament, and then they're in. That takes care of all the drama for next Sunday. I have a high degree of confidence that they're an at-large team. Now we'll see how things play out.
Well, it's happened before where the Mid-American Conference has gotten a couple of bids. I think, the Wally Zerbiak year was one of them, Dr. John. Like, this is an awesome, awesome experience. But does it mean that you can actually, be as honest as you can, but not have any rooting interest? Because, the undefeated season for Miami would be nice, but what about getting 2 MAC tournament teams in the NCAA field?
You know what? There's a lot of things I root for during our basketball tournament. One is to have lots of fans in the arena, and the second is to just see great games and let the kids play at their fullest potential, and then let things fall where they may. I don't judge or make determinations on the quality of a conference by how many teams they get into the NCAA tournament. I think there's a lot of Would I like multiple teams? Absolutely. If that happens, that's wonderful. But that's not a determinant of whether we're a great league or not. I focus more on let's get our best teams. Let's get them positioned. Let's get them into the NCAA tournament and make some noise there. And it's in the postseason where you really build the notoriety of your league by winning those games. It's like in football, winning those bowl games. It's important. Winning games in March is important.
Dr. John Steinbrecher joining us on the show. Okay, I want to get back to the tournament and how much fun it is, because it's really it's just a blast being here in downtown Cleveland over the last 20-plus years. Take me down the road, though, Sacramento State joining in the football capacity. How did that all come to be?
Oh, that's started out really last summer. Sacramento State was in contact with every Group of Six conference, checking to see if there might be some interest in them as an affiliate member. They had made known their desire to move to FBS, and for them to reclassify, they had to be a member of an FBS conference. And so we decided to look at things a little differently. My presidents have challenged me on think outside the box in terms of revenue generation. And if you've noticed, there's been a whole bunch of conferences that have built up their financial reserves with withdrawal fees. Well, we've been pretty stable. We're not a lot of people coming in and out of our league, so we've not done that. And so I started looking at it, okay, is there a way we can look at membership in the conference as a commodity that can be monetized? Okay, and so you start with that premise, and then you work through all the other stuff. Is it a school that matches? Are they investing in their football program? Is it a growing school? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so then you start checking off boxes. And for people who don't know a lot about Sacramento State, here's a school that in the past 5, 6, 7 years has really started to invest in athletics. The results have been shown in their football program. 3 Big Sky championships over the last 5 years. Big Sky Conference is probably the deepest FCS conference there is out there. They and the Missouri Valley Football Conference are the 2 top conferences in FCS. So they've had good success. They've drawn very well, top 15 of attendance in FCS, 31,000 students and growing. And then we worked a deal that made it very financially lucrative for our league. Obviously, a large financial buy-in. And again, we get back to monetizing a membership as an asset. And then they're paying the charter air costs for the teams that have to go out there, things like that. It's in one sport. Teams will have to travel out there once or twice in a 5-year period of time. We can make it work. And then let's add to that, even just as important, I think they're going to come in and I think they're going to help elevate the league. They're doing the things they need to do to have a quality program. And so I think they'll push the league. And at the end of the day, that's good for all of us.
Now, I know their athletic director at Sacramento State had brought up using a study saying this was going to bring $1 billion of unforeseen revenue, down the road because of eyeballs and marketing advantages, not to mention the TV contract that you alluded to. Were you buying that to that level? I mean, look, we love the Mid-American Conference, but can you really assign $1 billion to that?
Well, one, he's talking about media value, and so you take some of that with a grain of salt, and they're also talking over a pretty significant period of time. I know the individuals who conducted the study for them, and so it's all fine. I think they were transparent with their community on what they were doing and how they were analyzing it. I think the numbers at the end of the day hold up. They're a fascinating school, and they've got a leadership team starting with their president that views athletics as one of the ways to build the image and lift up the exposure of the institution to help continue to grow what they're doing there. Again, it's 31,000 students and growing, and so they've got some fascinating things going on there that I hope they're contagious.
We've seen, more and more this idea of football-only memberships to conferences. Do you think this could be the way of the future for some of the conferences, given the logistics, given, the fact that we don't have the same footprints for these conferences? Might it make sense for the revenue sports to be really the carriers of these transitions when it comes to the teams moving conferences?
That's a good question. It sounds reasonable. The challenge is you're going to want to treat all of your student athletes in your program in similar fashions. And so can you do that by having multiple conference affiliations and things like that? This is, there's a handful of affiliate members in football. I'm not aware of any in basketball. So I think it's challenging. It makes sense in our case, in a very limited sense. I don't know if it would make sense beyond that. Our preference, if we were going to grow, my preference would be to grow with full members. But because of the unique circumstances, this was the fit.
Are there overtures out to other schools right now while I ask you this question?
I'll leave it to you to figure that out.
I can speculate with the best of them, sir.
Well, everybody does. You know what? You add members when you find people who fit with you philosophically, programmatically, who bring something to the table to make you better. When those things occur, then you dig into it.
Your group of 6, but I have to ask. I'm sure you had some eyes on the round table, the college football round table at the White House. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, a handful of thoughts. One, it's always good when you get people together to talk about intercollegiate athletics at a time when you have an enterprise that is in flux, that there's a lot of issues we need to get our hands around. And so that's a positive. What wasn't a positive was how narrow the group of people who were invited to be in that room to participate. Largely individuals from the autonomy schools, the Power 4 schools, whatever you want to call it, and then a not insignificant number of people who are not affiliated with schools or from, whatever, high-profile folks. I don't know what will come out of that. We shall see. We've all been working fairly hard. In fact, I was in Washington, D.C. last Monday doing some work around SCORE Act and various other things. We need some assistance from the federal government if we're going to try and have rules that we can govern ourselves. And I'm not talking about broad antitrust protection for the NCAA. What I am talking about is we need some limited help so that we can have eligibility rules that says you have 4 or 5 years of eligibility, that says we can have transfer rules that do X, Y, and Z, that say you can run championships in this form or fashion. I'd remind people, and most people aren't aware of this, we were within an eyelash of last year's men's basketball tournament having an injunction slapped on it because there was a prominent state institution that didn't get in at large bid. If we can't do those very basic things, then it's going to be very challenging to manage the enterprise of intercollegiate athletics.
I know it became a big story just how few student athletes were going through senior day for college hoops. And a lot of people were talking about just how much it's changed over time, how obviously fans and schools, alumni, they don't get a chance to embrace these student athletes. Now, at the mid-majors, it's always been tough because, once transfers became allowed, guys, those players were going to get poached. I guess my next question is, are you still in this, I don't know how many years you've been doing this, Dr. John, but, the different iterations of this over time and how this has evolved, the degree, how much is that truly a part of the student-athlete experience when these players are so quick to just change to a different school, whether or not it even has the major that they've started on along that path? It just seems like almost so silly that we talk about student athletes the same way, especially at the Power 4 programs, given that these students, they have no loyalty to their programs at all.
That's fair commentary. And there is a concern. If we're going to have athletics intertwined in the enterprise and the fabric of higher education, then there needs to be a direct linkage. I take the term scholar athlete or student athlete really seriously. We take pride in our league that we're providing wonderful opportunities for these young men and women to come in and have a chance at an education that'll better their life, et cetera, better our communities, and so on. If we lose that, if in 2, 3, 4 years we start looking at our academic metrics and we're starting to see a decrease in the things that we're supposed to be doing, then that's a problem. And so that's why I get back to this idea that we've got to be able to enact and enforce eligibility rules that are aimed at supporting the educational mission. That means bringing in student athletes who want to be there, giving them a reasonable opportunity to earn a meaningful degree. And if we can't do that, then that's a problem, and that has ramifications down the road.
All right, Doctor, tournament this week. How can people get there? It's a fabulous thing. Tell them.
RocketArena.com. Get your tickets because it's a hot ticket right now. A lot of good things going on. And then one other thing I do want to push is we are doing a community service project this year with our tournament, and we're partnering with the Hunger Network, and we're doing something called Ann's Pantry, and we're asking fans to bring dry goods or canned goods to donate or even make a financial contribution. And this is named in honor of my late wife, who passed almost 2 years ago. And, we're trying to work with an organization that does such a phenomenal job of providing food to people who are in need. And we'd ask everyone who's coming to please participate, or even if you're not coming, you can go online to our website and find the link there. Please make a contribution.
Dr. John Steinbrecher, look forward to having you back in town. Of course, you're always in town in Cleveland. You live right by me. We're basically neighbors, John. We'll see you around. Amazing. And good luck with the tournament.
Thank you so much.
All right, there he is, Dr. John Steinbrecher. And again, KEY at 923thefan.com before 10 a.m. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to the MAC semifinals. How about they've got on Thursday, 11 a.m. Is that really an 11 a.m.?
11 a.m.
Number one in the MAC tournament, Miami taking on UMass.
It's all coming up. Also, I don't mean to be mean, but he could have been the most pointless pick the Browns have ever made. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Who is it? We'll tell you next on The Fan.
why shouldn't your football podcast be the same?
Follow and listen to Heed the Call NFL podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Could the Browns have a new quarterback before the draft? Don't miss a minute of Browns offseason coverage. The radio home of the Cleveland Browns. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Back of the Fan, yeah.
We'll get to Dylan Gabriel here in just a second because.
Well, now you gave it away who I was going to talk about. Everybody stay for the Dylan Gabriel conversation, please.
We just had Dr. John Steinbrecher on, and for those that missed it at the end of the week, President Donald Trump vowing to issue an executive order to fix what he called the mess in college sports created by NIL payments to football and basketball players. So everybody's got an opinion on this, kind of depending. It's very interesting to see the breakdown of the types of people that are totally okay with players making as much money as they can, transferring every year, holding out to the highest bidder, and that those that feel, well, only the coaches should be able to do that. Like, we can get into that another time. I'm more interested, and the commish commented on this. I said it on the podcast last week, and I think you were taken aback.
Mm-hmm.
I said I don't care anymore about student athletes when it comes to the power for major football and basketball programs. I don't care, Kenny, because they don't care. They are transferring every year if they want the opportunity to go play and get a better chance at either going pro or making more NIL. So why should I care about whether the Ohio State football players go to class? Now, this has been an age-old argument.
It's hard for me to give you an answer. You asked me point blank in a podcast, and I started hemming and hawing. Other than the tradition of it, I think there should be some, because to me, college is supposed to be a place that is supposed to further your advancement in the real world. If you're not building towards advancement in the real world, I don't think that playing professional sports is advancement in the real world. I take Chuck Noll's advice on that. I think that you're always trying to prepare for your life's work. You get done playing pro sports in your 30s, if you're lucky. If you're lucky, you do. I think that there should be some sort of a advancement towards a degree, but I think that's also pretty naive to say out loud. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I was in school, I thought it was so cool that the national champion Ohio State Buckeye football team, that those players were in the same classes as me, that I'd see them walking into the library and around Mirror Lake. Really, I really saw them. Not all of them, but I saw some of them. Obviously, it was more of a priority to some, maybe the backup offensive linemen, maybe the special teams guys that weren't going to go to the NFL. But now this has so dramatically changed that I've even lost the care in the world about when they announce the guys during the Final Four and they announce their majors.
I understand.
I roll my eyes thinking, you've transferred 3 times. You don't care about who the...
Well, as long as they transfer credits over, I mean,
Right. Well, how many players this year have been suspended in college football for not meeting requirements or have been ineligible? 0. Nobody cares and nobody's following it anymore.
But they barred a whole football team from going to the bowls. I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous.
Of course, Akron of all
schools. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Carson Beck comes out, yeah, I'm in a class in 2-3 years. Oh, okay. But Akron can't go to a bowl. All right, beating up on the little guy. I'm sorry.
So that's all I'm saying. I know we got to move on, and I know it's a big thing,
day.
But I've just lost my interest in caring about their majors. Like, I thought it was cool when I was young. Robert Smith is going to be a doctor. Of course, he ends up just being a football pundit. But he was going to be a doctor, and that was, like, so cool. Craig Krenzel was going to study. I think Craig ended up selling insurance and ended up doing commercial real estate. Whatever. It's cool. Yeah, that's all cool, too. But in the end, none of this matters to me anymore. Well, I'm done caring about it.
My whole thing is...
Aaron Kraft, by the way, is a doctor.
I would say... Well, we know you know that. Is he a general practitioner? How is he not your GP if he is?
If
he is?
No, I think he's...
Pediatrician? I don't know what he is. I'm not sure.
Podiatrist. I don't know.
Oh, then Sarah's got to have some feet issues there running, right?
Oh, that would be great.
Anyway,
get a console.
Not with those $500 shoes.
I'll just say this. Only 22 could play at a certain given time. Only, so many guys are going to play during a certain given time, during a certain given year. you're all not making $1.5 million. You might as well try to do something to advance yourself, should you not? I mean, you have the time to do so. You have the time. So it's like, hey, if you could go and try to work towards a degree, and maybe it's a good idea to try to work towards a degree.
Aaron Kraft does heads and necks.
Good for him.
Heads, necks, knees, and toes.
Nope,
knees.
no, doesn't go that way.
Does not go that far.
All right, I don't mean to be mean.
Before we're switching on real quick.
Yes.
There was a trade.
Whoa!
In the NFL, it doesn't involve the Browns.
Do we have breaking news or no?
It's not.
Okay, what do we got?
Yeah, so the Dolphins are sending Minka Fitzpatrick to the Jets for a 7th-round pick from the Chargers, and then the Jets are going to give him a 3-year, $40 million deal.
How does he go from?
Was he a first?
Yeah, but I mean, and he's been traded for first before. I think twice.
Well, to Pittsburgh and then back to Miami.
The greatest trade bait player ever. Like, at least in the NFL. There's been several guys that you always rumor for trades in the NBA, but man, in the NFL, so Minka Fitzpatrick onto the Jets.
Correct.
Division rival, huh? Yeah, we've done deals with the Steelers before. I'm just saying. All right. Mary Kay Cabot was on over the weekend. Here's what Mary Kay had to say about right now you have 3 quarterbacks in your room. Some people say you have none. But here's Mary Kay on the future of one of the Browns quarterbacks that are in the room.
If they bring in another guy, then I think they would be open to trading Dylan Gabriel. So, I think that's something to watch for over the next week. If they can get something for Dylan, maybe they've seen enough of him, and, maybe Todd Monken has seen enough of him and, what his scheme would be for a guy like that to maybe, that they would consider moving him. In that scenario, then you maybe go out and find another developmental guy. Maybe you draft, a Drew Eller or a Cade Klubnik or whatever, somebody from a later round in this draft.
I've sat here for 40 minutes trying to find a nicer way to say it, and I can't find a nicer way to do it. Is he, and the poor guy, is he maybe the most pointless pick the Browns have ever had? He's got to be in the power rankings anymore. Like Justin Gilbert, they took sight unseen. Like they didn't even go to the pro day. That ended up being pointless. He did have a touchdown. He did have a pick 6 against the Colts. I remember that game vividly. There was Johnny. I know people immediately say Johnny. Johnny got people excited for about 40 minutes, and then that was the end of it. There's Joe Banner picking somebody out of a magazine. That's in there. That's pointless. It was Jamorris Slaughter, but I'm not sure right off the top of my head.
Cade York?
Ooh.
Well, hasn't Cade York gone? Where does he work now?
He might be back here.
Oh, damn it. Okay, maybe Cade York. I mean,
like a 4th-round pick.
In the 3rd round. Yeah, he was 4th round, Cade York was, if I'm not mistaken.
Cade York was on the Saints practice squad this year. That's the last time he's ever been on an NFL roster.
Boy, man, he was a one-hit wonder. He hit that kick against the Carolina Panthers, and there it is. And here I am over here yelling about Andre Schmidt after week 1, and we might have found our next Phil Dawson for all we know.
58-yarder?
It was long. Yes. I lost my voice. I was screaming so hard after that.
That was the Baker game?
Yep. Boy. You really, when you put it like that. I feel bad to say this, but Dylan Gabriel might have been the most pointless pick ever. In 3rd round.
I hated the pick.
And I know there were some people who rumored about the 4th round and maybe like that. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to be mean-spirited. It sounds like I'm being mean-spirited. I just can't find another word for it. He seems like a nice enough young man. He can't get out of here fast enough. I'm sure he feels he can't get out of here fast enough. I'm sure a lot of Browns fans feel they can't get out of here, can't get him out of here fast enough. I mean, you've had how many different press conferences here over the past 3 weeks, a month, ever since Todd Monken got hired? I almost said Todd Haley. Ever since Todd Monken got hired, and he's been kind of like a throw-in to any answer at all. The conversations have all been about Shedeur and Deshaun, and another quarterback who could possibly be brought in. And now I have this. I'm like, what am I going to get back for Dylan Gabriel? A 7th? A 6th? Can I get a 6th out of Dylan Gabriel? And I think a lot of fans go, why are we even having the debate? Just get whatever you can out of him and we move on.
I would take it right now.
Because it doesn't seem to be very good for him. It certainly doesn't seem to be very good for us.
I just hate, where was he taken in the 3rd round? Was he
94th overall, if I'm not mistaken.
And what I keep hearing from even the people that say the nicest things in the world about Dylan Gabriel, the people that might have alluded to supercomputer and all that, they've been like, yeah, he's he is a potential backup quarterback. And I'm like, why are we, before we have our quarterback, why are we drafting the backup? It never made any sense to me. You can get anybody to be your backup quarterback for a few years.
That was my issue, is that you knew going into this year. You don't need to draft him in
the top 100.
You won 3 games the year before. You won 5 games this last year. You knew you needed all this talent. I'm like, that could have been so many other picks. That could have been so many other people. And you took him, and then we did this big charade where he probably shouldn't even have played as well. And we can get into a great big fight, but you had this great big charade. And any of the things that he did well when he was in college, he just didn't really tend to do it. Didn't really tend to do it well. And it was maybe some time just figuring it out where it is. Maybe it'll do you well, but maybe somewhere else is the best place. And I imagine he probably, considering the way this year has gone, I think he probably agrees with it. 216-474-0092. I'm going to get to some of you guys on this because we have free agency out there. You should be yelling at me about certain free agents out there. Nobody has said a word about any of these guys, and we're just over 2 hours away from the tampering period that starts at noon, which means that maybe you guys are a little bit more satisfied or at least a little bit more open to my plan than I thought you would be. And no matter what you tell me, I'm not just going to focus on the losses, guys. It's never just going to happen that way. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. Take us with you to work. Turn us on at work. YouTube Live, your smart speakers, the free Odyssey app. It's all free. Hit it.
Brad Evans here to help you beat the road.
Add new Unstoppables beads to your wash for 24-hour nonstop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
In your weeknight with the best segments of the day. The Fan Rewind. Weeknights at 11.
Back in the Fan. We're just over 2 hours away from the tampering deadline, or from the tampering period starting.
It looks like it's the trade period right now, though.
Yeah, there's trades going on right now.
Rashawn Gary just got traded to the Cowboys from the Packers.
Boy, those two teams like making moves, don't they? Hell, that's a nice move for the Cowboys. All right.
They're swapping D-lines.
Jerry hasn't lost all his marbles yet. Lost a lot of them, but he ain't lost all of them. Rashawn Gary's a fine player. 216-474-0092. By the way, I wanted to say this earlier. We got sidetracked with the. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to play stupid over here. I just can't believe we spent 2 months arguing about quarterbacks. Today's the day where you can start to talk about getting a quarterback, and it's mum's the word. I guess I had a better idea than what a lot of people wanted to admit. And I think we know who I'm talking about over here. Anyway, Joel Bitonio. Have we seen any news over the last few hours? If we would, I'm sure we would have known.
Anything about Joel. He's just a regular old free agent, right?
Yeah. Technically, he's a free agent. And over the weekend, I saw a lot of steam picking up from writers going, hey, Joel Bitonio's not retired, and he looked really good this last year. I know he's a little long in the tooth. What would you feel like if he ended up playing somewhere else? No one would be mad at Joel.
No, I wouldn't be mad at him at all. It'd be weird, obviously. He's one of those weird to see in another uniform.
It'd be weird because you'd go, well, why didn't we bring him back? I think would be the thing. Even though they hold on to certain players. I'm sorry to cut you off. They hold on to certain players like grim death. Like Myles Garrett ain't going anywhere. Joel Bitonio's not as good as Myles Garrett is. I understand that. But you have a need, and he's good, but holding on to him would mean that you're flying in the face of a lot of things you want to do with your offensive line. Like, how much further could you keep him before you're willing to sacrifice and go younger in that position? You seem to want to go younger in all these positions.
Well, think about what happened last year to Wyatt Teller.
Yeah.
At the end of the year.
And there's different rules for different spots. I get that. But, man, it does fly in the face there. Like for Joel Bitonio, you asked me before the show what would certain former Browns players say to Joel Bitonio if they were going to give advice. And I think it's as long as you make money and you're happy and you want to go chase a ring, go chase a ring. But some of these other places, like there have been places that I've known guys, they will just not play. There have been very successful organizations that there have been great players who have played for the Browns. And we're just shouting into the wind. They're not going to play for that organization for a multitude of reasons that you guys wouldn't even care about. They just are not going to do it. And maybe Joel is that way about certain places out there.
Football guys are a little different, especially also position groups. Mm-hmm. Like we know there are some guys they'll just go for the most money, like they have no attachment. Joel Bitonio is very attached here. Now, we assume that he likes it here and his family likes it here. But you never know what guys are truly feeling like. And if another team that they thought Joel Bitonio was like the missing piece on their offensive line, or they had a young guy that maybe they thought, hey, let's bring in a veteran like Joel, and they can pay him the same amount of money as the Browns would in that situation, what would Joel do if he could essentially ring chase and do it in a good spot?
I would say you can really like it here and always come back here, but you could also go chase somewhere else, right? You can always do that. Like we all know guys who left, they went to college, then they left the area and they came back. You're always welcome to come back. And I just don't think any fan would hold against Joel Bitonio. It'd be weird if he played for if he ended up playing for the Steelers or something, that'd be pretty odd. But I still wouldn't hold it against him necessarily. I wouldn't hold it against him, right? Not the Steelers, even the Steelers. No. If I didn't really hold it against Joe Hayden, why would I hold it against the Steelers? Like, you're the ones who let him go.
Just got cut on like a random Tuesday.
I understand. You're exactly right. But there were people who blamed Joe Hayden like, you could have went anywhere. You went to the Steelers. Like, well, you cut him. It wasn't like he just left you and decided to go play for the Steelers.
He was in Steelers camp before the end of the day.
Yeah. Like,
it's the closest drive.
You cut him. Like, if Joel Bitonio ended up with the Steelers or, God forbid, the Ravens some way, somehow, I'd be like, okay, well, we could have offered him something he couldn't refuse. Could have been that way. He still gave us 12 years of exceptional service. Still did a tremendous job. And we're in on Chris Paul. We're in on maybe Tyler Linderbaum, according to Albert's kind of the only person kind of saying it that I'm seeing right now, that we're in on Tyler Linderbaum, which would be significant. I know that he said he wasn't going to splash the pot, but going after Tyler Linderbaum, and that would be a market-setting deal. That would be splashing the pot. I had a lot of people come after me earlier today because I'm saying, no matter what you tell me, I can't just focus on the losses. Tone, I think that you're getting it a little bit with the Cavs. I've got a lot recently over the last week. It's like, man, they're in a weird spot where anybody talking about them just can't win. If I say I understand where Nick's coming from, I got killed the other day for it. Just killed. I'm like, no, I can understand where Nick's coming from because a lot of people are saying it, that you're a quote-unquote soft team, no matter what we want to say about it at all.
I didn't think yesterday had anything to do with toughness, though. There were
a lot of people who said, when are you going to call this team out, this soft-ass basketball team, for being soft? I go, I didn't think they were soft. I thought it was a bad day at the office.
Second. About that, if the Cavs just would have hit some of their shots, which is a big part of the NBA, would we be saying they're tougher? Because then they would have been in the game or maybe would have won the game. Now they're all of a sudden a tough team.
Apparently.
Like, I do think we have to be able to watch the games and
I would agree.
accurately talk about what happened. Now, if you're asking, like, I'd say yesterday, there were some big-time issues, I thought. Like, they just switch every screen defensively. Well, if you're going to switch every screen defensively and make life easy on a team that matchup hunts the way that the Boston Celtics do, well, yeah, you're going to end up with Keon Ellis defending Tatum and Brown, and just very easily, just the same as when we had Darius Garland, they're going to be able to shoot over them. And there's not going to be a lot of resistance. Or they're going to be able to break you down. You're going to start to rotate or start to bring guys over. They're going to be able to find open guys to hit wide open threes. They're really good at that.
And the reason I keep bringing this up is that you play Philadelphia tonight. None of us are talking about it. No one seems to care because no one takes Philadelphia very seriously. And it's like, guys, you're going to run into a lot of these teams. Like, yeah, I know that this was a measuring stick game, and it sucks that they started off so poorly and they missed 16 threes in a row. I just don't think that that's the end-all, be-all for their season as a March 8th basketball game. And I know if they win tonight, which are expected to win tonight, Philadelphia's got a bunch of players out. No, we're in the middle of free agency. We're getting into free agency. There's going to be a big deal. But I can't just focus on the losses and say they're garbage. They're not garbage. There's going to be a lot more than just walking into a championship. I think a lot of us are stuck in LeBron mode. We got to go back. That 4 years of LeBron, wonderful that we won, still tumultuous. It doesn't just happen. It's pro sports. All right, big thanks to Dr. John Steinbrecher who joined us. He was incredible. We're back tomorrow, 6 to 10 for Big Country, for Jeff, for John Boy. For the Slippery Wizard, I'm Ken Carman. Have a wonderful day, my friends. Go Cavs. Win.
Sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Oh, boy.
This is an Odyssey Sports Minute.
United States, Mexico, 2